good evening, everybody. It's the Cryptid Huntress. I'm Jessica Jones. Thank you guys so much for being here tonight. Boy, we have a really cool show for y'all lined up. As always, we are going to go over 3 separate remote viewing targets that involve petrified giants. Now, we're not just talking about human giants. We're talking about even potential trees that have been cut down. Okay, and maybe even a petrified axe on top of a tree, maybe. I don't know, tree stump. Well, you guys will be familiar, most likely, with these 3 targets. One is the Devil's Tower. The next will be the King of Wings. That's the one with it looks like the tree stump with the axe. And then we have a sleeping giant out of Peru. And that is another one of the targets tonight. Okay, so y'all buckle up. We are in for a wild ride tonight. This is going to be really fun. And I can't wait. I try to keep it spicy for you guys and kind of mix it up and not talk about Dogman or Bigfoot every show. Okay. We're trying to switch it up here. And I think it's a lot of fun. And so let's get to it, y'all. Tonight, I do have my good friends Jane and Gerald Fountain here of Midwest Night Watchers. They're in the studio tonight, and they have done their own research on petrified giants as well. They have a wonderful YouTube channel. It is called Midwest Night Watchers. And you can also listen to the beautiful sounds of Chiro sounds over on her YouTube channel as well. So I ask you guys to please go over there and subscribe. I know we'll be putting the links in the chat throughout the show. And so, yeah, we have a lot to discuss tonight, y'all. So if you guys would like to come and meet me in person and hang out and stuff, y'all come down to Florida next week. I'm going to be at the Full Disclosure Now conference. That is coming up next week. I'm speaking on Friday, actually, down there. And so I will be there definitely on Friday morning. Okay. So y'all come check me out down there. And you can buy online passes as well if you guys can't make it down there and you want to hear this amazing lineup of speakers they have coming down there. It is a huge list of speakers. Look at this flyer, y'all. I don't even know how many people that is. That's a lot of people. I am up there at the top somewhere. I don't know which direction my finger is. It's all backwards here on my side. But I'm on the second row up there. You'll see me along with a lot of other people you guys will probably know and recognize from being interviewed on my shows and me being on their shows as well. So yeah, that's going to be a great time. That's next week. Please come see us there. Also, if you guys want to check out my archives of shows and everything, y'all go over to my website. That's thecryptidhuntress.com. And there you can find my Patreon link. That is where you guys can find all of the raw remote viewing data. I have uploaded it to Patreon along with the entire presentation that I'm giving tonight. It's all over there on Patreon. Okay, all the raw data for all 3 targets and all the other targets I've ever discussed publicly, they're all there with a couple of extras as well. So thank you so much to all of my Patreon members. You guys keep me ticking and rolling over here, and I do appreciate it. And also, I have a shop over on Etsy if you guys would like to check that out. It's called War Woman Goods. Okay, so all right, let's get to our show tonight. All right. Oh, by the way, I've added several events onto my calendar. I forgot to mention this one too. This is coming up in about 2 or 3 weeks. I don't know, August the 2nd, whenever that is. At Piedmont University, I will be speaking at the World UFO Conference in Demarest, Georgia. We have, let's see, John Price. He's a cool dude, head of Alabama MUFON, actually. And James Rink with the Secret Space Program. James is going to be there with me speaking along with Dr. John Stamey. And that is going to be at Demarest, Georgia, Piedmont University. It's coming up soon. So y'all can come and hang out with me over there as well. Okay. That's in North Georgia, by the way. Okay. Not too far from where there's some Bigfoots out there. Actually, there's Bigfoots like in that county and Dogman. So y'all come see me. Okay. All right. Well, let's get to the show, y'all. Let's have at it. Okay. So some believe that natural land masses, trees, and formations that we see today in forests, parks, gardens, and wherever else are not really trees. They're not really mountains, and they're not really mesas. But they are something much larger that our eyes have not been trained to see yet. Some of us see it. Did our planet's ancient trees once extend up to 40 miles high into the sky with trunks that are 2 miles across? Many believe so. And some believe that the mountain ranges and rocks are actually petrified giant humans, animals, and gigantic, I guess, organisms. We'll just call them organisms. It appears in some cases across the planet that petrification took place on giant humans and huge animals with flesh and blood without decomposing them, and instead turning them into solid rock, usually limestone. If Titans roamed the earth, what happened to them? Did some type of cataclysm, a war, or a great flood, or several wipe them off the face of the earth? Well, I've been tasked with several remote viewing targets on petrified organisms, and we're going to go over 3 of those tonight, including the Devil's Tower, the King of Wings, and Peru'S sleeping giant. And of course, I do have Gerald and Jane Fountain with Midwest Night Watchers here in the studio tonight. You guys, please go over to their channel. It is called Midwest Night Watchers, and also Chiro Sounds. Please help me welcome to the show, Jane and Gerald. Hey, y'all.
Good evening.
Hi.
Hey, thank y'all so much for being here.
Thanks for having us.
Well, thanks for asking.
Of course, we always have a really good time when you guys are on, and really good discussions. And tonight will be no different. Okay. We're going to talk about petrified giants today. What do you guys think about petrified giants?
Awesome. I love that subject.
They're real.
Oh, yeah. I think so, too. Have you guys ever looked at mountains or hills and thought, man, that looks like a person?
Yeah.
We actually experienced that ourselves when we went out to Montana for Jane's mother's funeral, and we were able to see the mountain there in Montana that has a sleeping man on top of it. We can see it right from where we're at celebrating Jane's mom's funeral or her life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Well, there's so you did it actually look like a person?
Yes.
Yeah.
Looked like a person laying on top of the mountain sleeping.
Oh my gosh. What are the odds that, these are found all over the world, and it looks like giants literally sleeping, like they just laid down and took a nap, or, laying on the ground. What are the odds of those being actual gigantic humans, or titans as they call it?
Right. I mean, they look like it. Yeah. Exactly. There's at least 10 of them in the US that people call sleeping giants on mountain ridges and buttes.
There's also that big mountain in Phoenix called Camelback Mountain, and it does look like a camel laying down. So not just humans, but it definitely looks like a camel laying down, so they call it Camelback Mountain.
Oh yeah, man. I mean, it's been a while since I've covered petrified giants, but I've definitely covered some in the past. I remember having, especially when I was on Spaced Out Radio, and I had William Nighthawk and I had Dennis on my show together at one point, and we talked about petrified giants. I think I've talked about them with Jock Doubleday, who came on the show, and he's not a geologist or anything like that, but I think he might know a little bit more than most geologists know. Okay, about potentially the Earth being, not what we're told. Okay?
Right.
Not what we're told. There's something fishy about all this. There definitely is. What we're taught. And I look at everything. I look at everything with a side eye now, y'all. Every time I'm reading like history books, and I was even doing my research on this today. And it's so wild because you're looking at like let's talk about the Devil's Pass first. Okay, or the Devil's Tower, not Devil's Pass. All right, this is in a national park, and when you look into this, and you start looking, like you type in trees are, mesas are trees or stumps of trees or things like that. Like you're kind of getting into the conspiracy side of these things, right?
Right.
Everything. I promise you guys, when I was looking online, when I did a search, even on like DuckDuckGo, which is what I use usually, it's like Snopes, fact check. It's like, oh, this is crazy conspiracy theorists say this, they said flat earthers, crazy flat earthers say this and that. And y'all know we don't talk about flat earthers too much, because you know what happens when we do that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. They start throwing eggs in chat.
Yeah. Tomatoes. Y'all don't throw tomatoes at us. Yeah. But that's what it is. A lot of these articles, they clump it all together with like, it's like double conspiracy theories here, like, oh, these flat earthers say this about these. They used to be gigantic trees, and it's crazy talk. But is it?
Right. If we've learned anything from going down rabbit holes of conspiracy theories, it turns out majority of them end up being true eventually.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, they do. Well, I got to tell you, the first time somebody told me they, had a discussion about these mesas potentially being trees, they're like they've been chopped down. It changed. It was just all about changing the perspective of how
Right.
we look at it, and I saw it immediately. So what else have we been lied to about if these used to be trees? And here's another question: who chopped them down?
Right.
Why are they
Right.
so perfectly chopped?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, there's probably a reason why we have folklores about Paul Bunyan and stuff like that, where they chop down giant trees.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Paul Bunyan's another one. Y'all know I did a remote viewing target of him,
Yep.
and it was actually who the character was based off of, and I believe he was probably a Sasquatch. I really do. After remote viewing that was a great remote viewing show. I think my friend Glenn came on with me for that one. But nonetheless, giants roam the earth. Is there any question as to whether that's true? What do y'all think?
No, I believe it 100%.
Right. I agree.
Mm-hmm. We're not talking about just giants like, even 8 to 9 feet tall. We're talking about titans too.
Yeah. 30 to 40 feet tall.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, for sure. And when I was reading that intro, I was saying, 40 miles high, a 40-mile high tree. That's like unimaginable to us, right?
Right.
Right.
Absolutely.
I can't even imagine what that looks like. You can't even see it. I mean, I don't know. That's wild. Okay.
It also would bring up the fairy tale Jack and the Beanstalk. If things grew that tall and he disappeared into the clouds into a city, how do we know what's up there and how tall things were at the time when they originally were planted or grew on this earth?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
We get in a lot of old pictures and a lot of the 1800 pictures. Why is it that all the trees look small and tiny, like they all just got planted and started all over again?
Well, maybe it has to do something to do with a reset.
Yeah, something had to happen.
Yeah.
Because a lot of these old pictures, all the trees are tiny, like they just recently got planted.
Yes. Yes. Okay, Robin, I've always said this. I've been saying this for a while. We are the ants. We're
Yeah.
little ants. We're the little people. And
Right.
and we're just living in a big person's world, being little people. That's what I think. So
I mean, if you have the pioneers or the lumberjacks out on the West Coast taking down sequoias and redwoods, just normal human sized people, I mean, those trees are huge. Can you imagine how big of a tree a giant could take down? Just like if Devil's Tower was really a stump left over from the old world.
oh yeah. Well, this is one that gets me right here. And we're going to talk about this one tonight because this is weird, right? It looks like an axe that someone just laid down. Okay, it does. But there's also, of course, there's scientific explanations for this. There's always an explanation for this. And honestly, I thought this was way bigger than it was. Okay. And I forgot to pull up a picture of a guy sitting beside it. It's not as big as you think it is. Okay. It's pretty big though. It's very big. Definitely way bigger than human sized. But to me, that looks like an axe.
Yeah.
It looks like an axe. I think it looks like that to the majority of the world.
Yeah, they call it King's Wings because of the photographer that took a great picture of it, and I think it had the Milky Way behind it, and people started paying attention to it, and he's the one that named it a giant wing or the King's Wing.
Oh, very cool. I did not even know that. I was wondering why it was called that. I'm like, that's a weird name.
So he thought it looked like a wing because it sticks out like 10 feet past that. They call it a hoodoo because it's a formation coming out of the ground, and usually there's rocks or boulders or whatever laying on top. Well, this one just happens to be the axe head or the wing, whichever way you want to look at it.
Oh, very cool. Well,
Wow.
that's really cool. Okay, then let me tell the audience where this is at. So this is so this was actually but the guy who named that, it was a 21st century explorer. Okay, and the satellite images from above really make this look like, it definitely looks like an axe, but it's in the Badlands of the San Juan Basin, and it's basically, it looks like a big giant stump of petrified wood. Okay, is what all this looks like. We're we're told, like you said, it was the wing-shaped hoodoo or wind-eroded stack of stone. It was kind of, they say this is common in Southwest America in the desert. And they say that the hoodoos are formed when the softer rock underneath, or the wooden stump, as we would, it looks like a stump. So let's call it the stump. When it erodes more quickly than the harder rock on top, which would be like the axe. I don't know, y'all. To me, oh, thank you, Kent. I appreciate that. What a great show. I appreciate that so much, Kent. Thank you for your support for that super sticker today. You are the best. Okay. Let me take this down. Okay. That axe and the stump underneath it, they don't look like the same type of rock to me. It looks different, right? Am I crazy or am I seeing that?
Yeah, just like you said, they say the lower part, or the part that erodes away, is a softer stone and leaves the harder stone. So maybe that's a metal ore. Maybe that axe is actually iron or steel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it doesn't look as though that is the same type of material composite that on the top as it is the bottom at all to me. So to me, I don't know. I'm not sure how much I buy all this, right? But I don't know about what the experts say about it. But I'm not saying it's not true. I'm not saying this can't be. I'm not a geologist. I just play one on TV. I'm just kidding.
And you can't trust experts these days.
Oh, no, not really. Sure can't. No, if I've learned anything, y'all, I don't know what to believe anymore. And so I think it's cool that, but that both of these, the Devil's Tower and this axe on the stump, or whatever it is here, the King of Wings, they have been remote viewed. Okay. Now these were practice targets that I was given a while back. I thought it was just appropriate to talk about them today. And so we're going to go there with those now. Also, let's switch over too with with the giant in Peru. There's a lot of giant, tree stumps, things that look like tree stumps down in South America as well. It's not just, we got a lot of them here in the United States. If you just open your eyes and you change your perspective as to how you look at stuff, you'll start noticing these things more. Okay. But there's down in South America as well. And actually in Central America, South America, they're all over the world. But in particular, there is this. Now, this is one of my remote viewing targets. And I was on the prompt on the target after I saw what the target was, when I was shown what it was just like that mountain right there. And this is not the picture. This is just something so I can show you guys for reference. Okay. Which is online here, but it's this mountain. It looks like a sleeping person. Okay. And so there's that. I don't know, y'all. It's really wild for the normal person that's not into this stuff. They look at this, like, look at us like we're crazy. It's like it's all pareidoia, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm. I mean, you would think so, but I mean, it's hard. It's hard not to see it. I mean, for us anyway, maybe we are just attuned to it, like, and other people just see it as a mountain or a bluff. But I don't know, that picture there. How could you not see a sleeping man?
Exactly, y'all. I'm sorry. It looks like my internet is froze again. It's my internet. Sorry about that. But yeah, it looks like a sleeping person, and these things are all over the world. I gotta say, there's that one sleeping lady mountain in Alaska.
Yes.
Okay. And I did some research on that today. I think I forgot to pull up a picture of that, but it looks like a woman with her legs stretched out and her arms are up like this and her head's on her arm. Mm-hmm. I believe, y'all, I gotta say, I've been told that was actually not real, that it doesn't look anything like that. And that was the work of an artist that did that one. So
yeah, the one where she's covered up in snow, that one supposedly is AI or fake, but there is an actual sleeping lady in Alaska on a mountain. It looks just like the one that you showed with the man laying out across the top of a mountain. Mm-hmm. So they have one in Alaska, but it's actually a woman, because there is actually where her breast would be, there is a little raise of another mountain right there. So it does look like a woman sleeping on top of a mountain.
Yeah. It does. There's just so many of these, and so many faces on the side of rock cliffs.
Yeah,
well. A lot of those, and they say that a lot of those are actually facing the same direction. It's almost like something came from the sky, and they're all looking out at it. that's what I've researched. That's some of the stuff that I found. They're all kind of looking in the same direction, like they're looking out over the horizon.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So okay. Well, I'm thinking let's start off tonight with the Devil's Tower. Okay, let's get into this one because I've got a lot of information on this one. This Devil's Tower was actually featured in Close Encounters of a Third Kind.
Yep.
Right. And I remember watching that movie as a kid, but I don't really remember the movie that much. I need to go back and watch it. But it seems as though a spaceship came down over this, I'm going to say tree stump. Okay. But over this big Devil's Tower. And it was almost like it was attracted to it. Like maybe it was made of quartz or something. I don't know. What do y'all remember about that movie? Do you remember that scene?
Yeah, I remember the spaceship coming down and they were all on top, including Dr. Hynek was up there and to greet it, and they played the music, the tones, the frequencies. So maybe that Devil's Tower has a frequency from the earth. Maybe it's coming through quartz veins and there's always speculation also that, and I know you brought up on your show about maybe giants are the ones that created quartz veins. Maybe that's not really quartz, but maybe old giant blood.
Oh, yeah.
They knew that ship was coming. They had it all set up and planned ahead of time for that event to happen. So they knew for some reason that ship was going to show up right there.
Oh, yeah, they did. They did. Here, let me pull up a picture of what we're talking about. I found this online. Okay. And that is like the big mothership that's coming down over this. We're just going to say Devil's Tower. Okay. And of course, Close Encounters of the Third Kind is a 1977 American science fiction drama. And it was by Steven Spielberg, of all people. And of course, it was about a blue collar worker in Indiana whose life changes after an encounter with an unidentified flying object. And Jillian, a single mother whose 3-year-old son was abducted by a UFO. Okay. And I was doing a little research today and I was finding, I found some information about maybe these mesas, whatever we're being told they are. If they are tree stumps, they have some kind of like crystal in them, right? So kind of like the petrified, I guess the petrification process of wood and stuff, potentially. It becomes quartz, right? Some kind of a quartz. And what do I always say? Okay, this is what I always say. About our cryptid field research is every time we're out there doing a Bigfoot investigation, a dogman investigation, there are veins of quartz everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Quartz.
Right.
So what does that tell you? I mean, this is almost like a little breadcrumb they gave us back in 1977, maybe.
Absolutely. I mean, it's just amazing though. I mean, even the fact, if we take the Devil's Tower as being a real tree, not too long ago, and just like you, I watch TikToks all the time and see this information. Not that I believe everything on TikTok that I see, but it's interesting that somebody, actually a few of them, have brought up now that scientists have done LiDAR underneath Devil's Tower and actually think they found a giant root system.
Whoa, really? Well, that's interesting.
What I'm hearing. I have nothing to back that up other than what I've seen on TikTok. So, but
my trusted news source.
Yeah.
Oh man, I love that. Yeah. Well, you got to wonder because if the trees are growing out of the ground, they grow just as large under the ground, as above, so below, right?
Right.
So there's got to be some sort of a network underneath these trees. And imagine if there's a tree that is 40 miles high. I don't know. It's the stuff of legend, right? But they show us stuff like this in movies like Avatar. Okay. And these giant trees. And what happened in Avatar, y'all? I believe they were all chopped down by opposing forces, let's just say.
Right.
And almost in laser precision. Okay. Because these trees, like they had this gigantic tree in Avatar, from what I can recall. And it seems like it was like the tree of life, basically.
Yeah, it was the mother.
Yeah. And the opposing forces came in and just chopped it down and took away everything there. Moondog Davis says watchers were ordered to leave stumps like these around the world. Well, it's almost like a calling card, maybe. I don't know. Jay Truseeker, hello. He says giant saucers have taken down those giant trees. Saw with a SAW.
Saucers.
I mean,
Yeah.
just like you talking about in the movie, maybe it was cut down and maybe it was left as a platform for them to land where we wouldn't notice them. I mean, how many ships could land on that? Not necessarily as big as the one in the movie, but maybe smaller ones could land on there and you'd never see them.
Yeah. Well, my thought is if those were giant trees, and they could be, if they're giant trees, then our plant life, our plants, and I've been seeing this a lot more lately online. They communicate with humans too, and I've seen you can go up and talk to a tree. I mean, the best thing you can do is like go hug a tree, and it takes away your negative energy, right?
Right.
Yep.
They're alive, and sometimes they will. If you tell it to come touch you, like you're like, hey, leaves, come touch me. They'll reach out and touch you. Some of them. I know that sounds wild, but
no, I've seen those videos. Me and Jane's actually seen it where our trees or a bush, all of a sudden, just one limb and a little bit of leaves will start turning where the rest of it doesn't blow, there's no wind, no nothing, but all of a sudden that one little limb just starts twitching.
Oh, yeah.
You're talking about the root system. If, for example, we had an old tree in our neighbor's yard, and it was a big tree. Well, they took it down several years ago. Well, a couple of years ago, they realized little ground squirrels were going in and out, in and out. The roots ended up being a tunnel system. So if these trees were that massive and giant, can you imagine the tunnel system that the roots would have made?
Oh, well, there's a good rabbit hole.
Mm-hmm. There would have been a rabbit hole tunnel system because of the roots.
Who knows if that decayed or it didn't quite petrify yet down there? Maybe there's tunnels going somewhere with things we don't know about inside of them.
Oh my gosh! Well, we talk about tunnels a good bit too. We got all these deep underground bases and facilities, and I mean, it's wide open, the possibilities. Yeah, I mean, it opens up a whole plethora of possibilities as to what all could be underground and what they're utilizing. I mean, you hear about these lava tubes and stuff like that too. And, we're going to, I guess when we talk about this Devil's Tower, we'll get into like the whole lava aspect, because some experts say that it's actually made of lava too, or lava tubes. I don't know. I've got it in my notes, y'all. Like I said, I'm no expert on this, but I have remote viewed it. Okay. But it's, it's everything but trees. Okay.
Yeah. Because with a lot of experts. They say it's volcanic, where the eruption or the volcanic lava pushes up rocks, and it has kept growing and growing. That's how big Devil's Tower got. But I tend to believe the tree. It looks like it has bark on the outside, and on the top pictures, it looks like it has rings. It's like a tree you would cut down here, like we would, and count the rings. So, I mean, I see both sides, but I tend to believe it's a tree.
I think it's a tree too. I am team stump. Okay, on this, and I've always been team stump when it comes to these things. There's nothing else they can be in my mind at this point. Are tree stumps, and I want to back that up a little bit by showing the audience. And this is what I was talking about with like they say these are like lava. I don't know, those are lava tubes, but that is the side of this pictures I just showed. Devil's Tower National Monument. I do believe that Devil's Tower National Monument was one of the first national monuments in the country, from what I can recall. Okay, so and I do believe it was who's the one that made the national parks? Teddy Roosevelt, I think. Yeah,
Teddy.
I want to say it was Teddy. Decided that he was going to make this one of the first national monuments here in the United States. And let me show some other pictures here.
Yeah, I've seen Devil's Tower personally, and the thing is massive. But what is bizarre is it's all by itself. There's nothing else around. It's just this massive tower, and you can see on the highway from miles away. I mean, this thing's massive. You can compare the trees down below. Those trees are probably huge if we're standing next to it. So if you look at the trees compared to that stump, that thing was huge.
Well, that alone right there is 900 feet tall. 900 feet. That's really big. Okay, so let's just say that's the bottom, a very teeny little stump of a tree. How big would that tree actually be?
Right.
I mean, and what type of tree was it? The biggest trees that we have now, I think the biggest tree on Earth is a banyan tree, I believe. And I don't even know how big those get, but they get big, but not that big.
Well, banyan trees spread out as one organism, so it looks like it's a whole forest by itself. So I actually think the sequoias out west are like the tallest trees, if I'm correct.
Oh wow, those are huge. Okay, well, we've got the Devil's Tower right here, and we have it next to some actual tree stumps.
Mhm.
Okay, tree stumps. To me, it's a dead ringer.
Yeah.
Okay,
It don't look
looks like a tree
mountain.
stump.
And if it was a mountain, why is it totally by itself in the middle of
Yeah.
nowhere?
That's right. That's right. Now, this is not the Devil's Tower. This is another mesa.
Mhm.
Okay, but that looks an awful like another tree stump here.
Right.
Right.
Okay, questions are, we got a bunch of questions from this, but like who chopped these things down? Okay, how big were the people, if they were people that chopped them down, and why would they have chopped these things down? And when, and where's all the wood at? Where's the
Right.
tree? I had
Mhm.
so many questions.
Right. But
So
like
many.
we were talking about earlier, so if we say a giant chopped down Devil's Tower as a giant sequoia or oak tree, whatever it was, and I mentioned that we talked about the sequoias and redwoods out west being chopped down, a lot of them by axe, some of them by chainsaw in modern days, but a normal sized man, say anywhere from 5'8" to 7 foot tall, maybe. 7 foot's kind of stretching it, but they could still take down a big sequoia. So if a giant is 40 feet, say the tallest giant, 40 feet tall, I don't know, I would think he would be able to chop down a giant tree like Devil's Tower.
Oh yeah. Well, when I first saw these tree stumps, because I'm calling them stumps, right? I was thinking, well, a UFO, like some kind of alien technology, had to have done that, right? Because there's just no way there were giants that big, to chop down trees and stuff. I was thinking in my mind, I'm always thinking space age and stuff. I'm like, oh, it's a laser beam. Okay, lasers came through and they did some damage. But then we have this, which we're going to go over as a remote viewing target tonight. It looks like an axe. Okay. And I feel like I'm slowly progressing with the whole giant talk. Okay. We've got the Tartarian Empire. You guys have covered it extensively as well on your channel. But we're finding all these giant artifacts all over the world. This might be the most giant artifact right there,
Right.
if that isn't a real axe.
Absolutely. I mean, if you look at the top view, it's shaped just like an axe.
Yeah. Yeah. Even the handle and everything. I mean, it's an axe. That's got to be an axe. I don't know. We're going to see what the data says tonight. Okay. But nonetheless, we're also, I know that people in the audience are probably, I can hear people in the audience thinking Nephilim, the giant Nephilim, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where does that come into play with all this? What do y'all think?
Jane, you want to talk about the biblical Nephilim and
Should we, or should we wait?
I don't know. We can just say fallen angels.
Fallen angels. Okay.
I believe the Nephilim was here and they were giants.
Mm-hmm.
So do we really know how tall they were? We don't know, but some of the skeletons they have found, these things are massive. Some of them are huge, like you're saying, 30, 40 feet. So yeah. I do feel like they could have done it, but why would they cut them down?
Yeah.
And
why do we cut them down?
Why?
I mean, there's purposes for everything.
Right. But why is there just a few stumps here and there? So just
exactly. That's what I wonder too. Like there's one gigantic one,
right,
in every state or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if they're that big, if they're actually titans, I mean, I don't know how big is this Earth actually? That's another question.
Yeah, we don't know.
I mean,
we've been lied to about it.
I know. It just we're just getting more questions than we have answers for. We have no answers for any of this.
Depends on if you count the lands past the ice wall.
Yeah. And you don't even know what year we're in. What year are we in?
I don't even know what day it is half the time. Y'all saw me. I don't know if y'all saw my Monday show. I was like, what day is it? Where am I?
Trust nothing these days.
Yeah. Yeah. Trust no one.
Yeah.
Okay?
Trust no one. Trust no news. Trust nothing.
But if Devil's Tower, say Devil's Tower, just like you were talking earlier about Avatar, the movie where they had the mother tree. What if that was the central mother tree of the root system, and it produces all the little trees around it? So that would make sense that there only be one giant tree, and then it provides the nutrients and communication to all the other trees around it.
Yes.
Like a mother tree.
Bingo. That's exactly what I've been thinking. That's what I was thinking as well. And I think that is a really good observation there. What if they only needed one gigantic tree? It provided the shade, it provided the fruit, it provided the housing, it provided, we're just like a bunch of Keebler elves. Okay. Like we could all just go live in the tree.
I want some cookies.
Yeah, I want cookies.
I know, right? Oh my gosh, the Keebler. Maybe that's where they got the idea for Keebler elves. I'm not sponsored by them or anything, y'all. I'm just saying.
So really, Keebler elves or elementals that lived in the trees?
Yeah. Man, it's a lot to think about, a lot to ponder. And so I'll give you a topic. Talk amongst yourselves. Okay. This is actually one of those. This is like I guess a display. I guess you can call it at Disney. And, Disney is the creator of Avatar, the movies. And I think Avatar is I love that movie. Okay. I love it. I haven't seen, I've only seen the first one. But this is, you can go there to Disney. I'm not going to take my kid there. Okay. But you can go there and you can see, they've got like a whole, like I said, display. I don't know what else to call it. Okay. At Disney there. And, okay. I don't even know where to begin with all this. There's so much to talk about. I do have also this picture right here will actually might come into play in just a little bit because we're going to talk about the tree being a crystal. Okay. In just a minute. So just put that in the back of tuck it away. And remember when we're talking about all this may be connected. Okay, it may be connected. And I love the fact that you did say, Garrel and Jane, y'all said that this tree may have just been like one big tree that covered the entire region. It was so big, they didn't need a whole bunch of other trees out there because it provided cover, food, foundation for everything out there, even maybe communication. I know it's kind of strange, but but it could be.
Mother Nature.
Right? Yeah. Gaia is alive. Mother Earth is alive. Right. And just like in the movie and Avatar, imagine if they cut that main source of life down in the middle of where's that in Wyoming? I think Devil's Pass or Devil's Towers in Wyoming, right? Or Montana. This might be Montana. I have to look.
There's Wyoming.
It is. Okay. It's either Wyoming or Montana. Okay. Imagine if something came in and cut that down, and that was like the source of energy, the source of life, the whole area, that's going to decimate that entire area to cut something like that down. Just like in the movie Avatar.
Is that how we got the Badlands? Or all those plateaus and bluffs where they really trees and they chop them down, and now the whole area is a desert and wasteland?
That could be a forest with all the flat spot. Yeah. Didn't think about that.
Yes, the Badlands. It's bad. It used to be good. Okay, sovereign carpet wildman.
Now it's got bad mojo.
It does. Well, maybe it's time to bring back the good. I mean, maybe it's time to start trying to figure out how we can grow these trees back. Okay. Sovereign says giant tyrants cut those gigantic trees so that we don't have abundant food sources. Part of enslaving humanity, supposedly. The remaining wood use on Sasquatch stick structures. Probably Sovereign, probably. But I do agree with that, though, actually, is that, Barry Littleton has often said when he comes on the show, we talk about this being a prison planet or even the Earth being a petri dish or laboratory. And I think there have been multiple resets, potentially. This is for entertainment purposes only. Again. But there have been multiple resets. And from the mud flood to the great floods, even today, what's going on in our world today, and New Mexico and Texas and East Tennessee and Western North Carolina floods, right?
Right. Is that another reset ready to happen? I mean, we're probably due for a reset. We're getting so highly technical, and technology is at its top form. I mean, it keeps improving every day. Are we about to the limit where whoever is in charge is going to say, okay, that's enough. We need to stop all this. And everybody's getting too smart and they're figuring this out.
Yeah. Yes. Well, well, I'm not going to say, listen, I'm not too smart. I'm just kidding. I don't claim to be, but I'm just saying.
Damn.
Oh yeah, we're talking about them, not okay. We're talking about the audience.
Are you pointing at me?
Point this way.
Oh my gosh. Well, we're just over here trying to, we're just putting it out there and just being critical thinkers on this. Okay. Because that's all we can do. We may not always get all the answers, but we can at least think out loud. Okay?
Right.
And I do that real well. Okay.
And we're not saying, just like anything else when we do a show, we're not saying this 100%. I mean, this is just what we believe. This is kind of where the facts lead us to think of. And we like to wonder, what if we keep our minds open and maybe we're wrong, but what if we're right?
And thinking out loud, we're in trouble.
Oh yeah. I think that it's, we could be right on some of this stuff, but I don't know. We'll never know. So, okay. For entertainment purposes only, we're going to keep this up on the screen. Okay.
Yeah.
And,
thanks, Blazer.
Yes. Thank you, Blazer. We appreciate you. And, okay. And Joyce also says maybe it has to do with lowering oxygen on the planet as well.
That
and,
could,
oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That would have been a big oxygen source.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, well, wow. Yeah.
And everything used to be a lot bigger on this planet, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. Absolutely.
Everything. Including the dinosaurs or dragons and everything. Yeah. So there's a lot that goes into all this. And I'm sure that there's a wonderful explanation. The experts will agree on what the acceptable explanation is. But then we're here to question that narrative.
Right.
Yes. Is what that is. Now, I'm not saying the remote viewing data doesn't line up with what the experts say. I'm not saying either way yet. But I mean, it might, but it might not as well. And okay. Well, let's talk about what the experts do say. Okay, I'm going to pull a picture of this up on the screen one more time. Okay, and this is a beautiful, beautiful landmark. I would not mind going there one day. Okay, so it's 900 feet tall. This is a national monument. It is a striking, you call it a butte, right? I want to say butt so bad, but it's not.
Then say it.
It's a butte.
It's your show.
It's a striking butt.
Sure is a butte.
Boy, that's
a butte of a butt. It's tucked into the Black Hills grasslands, best known for its unique geological patterns and impressive history. It's a Native American sacred site and the country's first national monument. It's a significant Wyoming landmark, and it's among the prime rock climbing destinations in the U.S. and a hub for hikers, photographers, and outdoor lovers worldwide. Though no one knows for sure. Okay, so they literally write this on. This is from the National Parks website, by the way. Okay, the U.S. National Parks. They do say. They say that no one knows for sure, but most geologists agree. Okay, and I'm only telling y'all this and really focusing on that sentence right there because they're admitting they don't know. Okay, and they say no one knows for sure. Most geologists agree that it's magma intrusion, not a volcano, of rare ingenious rock called phonolite porphyry that formed 500 million years ago. At first, it was buried underground, but erosion has exposed it to stand 1,267 feet above the Belfursh River. The Devil's Tower is a laccolithic butte made from igneous or magma rock. And it's definitely not, it says that's definitely not a tree stump, say experts.
Oh, well, it's definitely not a volcano.
Definitely not.
Sure.
Yeah, definitely not.
Definitely.
Which I just think that's kind of funny.
That means it
definitely not a
is.
tree.
That means it is. They tell us one thing, it's a lie, so we have to look at the opposite. So if they're saying it's definitely not something, look at the opposite. It's a tree stump.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay. So look over here, but not over here. I mean, they say that it's like magma that it rose, like it was pushed up out of the ground and it just arose one day. There's no way it was already there and it got chopped, which that is, I mean, like I said, I'm no geologist. I don't know. I'm sure that probably happens. it probably happens. They say it
Right.
does, but they also preface that by saying we don't know for sure.
Mhm.
Isn't that weird?
It is weird.
Okay. Well, I've got some articles that talk about crazy flat earthers say they're like, there's crazy flat earthers. There's no way that this could be, tree stumps and things like that. Let's see. I guess we talk about Avatar. We've kind of already talked about Avatar a little bit. And we'll get into this when I get into the remote viewing data. We'll go back to Avatar because I think there's some key elements from the data that could parallel some of this Avatar movie actually, and what happens there. So, yeah. Okay. Oh, and I also had an article too that talked about how long does it take wood to petrify as well. If anybody's interested in that, because this would be and you guys can go over to Mud Fossil University with Roger over there. I haven't met Roger yet. I want to bring him on the show, but he over on YouTube. It's called Mud Fossil University. He talks about this kind of stuff.
Right.
He's good. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Have you guys watched any of his videos on the stumps? The
Yes,
trees?
we've watched
Yeah.
mud fossils. Yeah.
Okay. Well, he's a great resource, y'all, if you want to go check him out for sure. But of course, this is an article by a guy named Jose Henry. I forgot the name of the website, but it says wood can take millions of years to petrify, although the process may vary greatly. Petrification also often occurs when the wood is covered by sediments and mineral-rich water. And I don't know. It says what we call today mountains are actually the preserved stumps of ancient tree-like life forms, is what Scott was actually saying.
Or a melted building.
Yeah. And yeah, maybe. He says, let's see, the correlation between tree stumps and geological formations from all around the world is what he's trying to bring the attention to. It says the morphology of many mountains, he claims, bears a striking resemblance to the internal structure of trees as seen under a microscope. The presence of the hexagon. Okay, and let's go back to this right here. The hexagon, you can kind of, you can't really see it very well from here, but there's hexagons right there. In his opinion, certifies that a system is biological in nature. He concludes that we have been duped by the scientific consensus, which is designed to keep us in the dark when it comes to our planet's real history, a history during which the skyline was dominated by enormous and possibly sentient tree-like creatures. During some cataclysmic point in Earth's past, these trees suffered a worldwide extinction, and the only thing left to remind us of their existence are the gargantuan stumps that we call mountains. Okay, and these buttes, the plateaus, you name it. And he said that. Okay, this is from another article right here, but it says. This person uses a formula derived from a study of modern trees. A tree's height is usually 20 times the diameter of its base. When applied to the case of the Devil's Tower, a strange structure, indeed, it says this formula gives us the height of almost 4 miles.
Wow.
Okay, never in accepted history of Earth has an organism ever that big, has that big ever existed. 4 miles. That's huge. We were talking about 40 miles or 10 miles. 4 miles is a lot too. I mean, I wouldn't want to run 4 miles, okay, personally, but it's pretty far. And let's see. So, okay, and then we can get into the crystals, the crystal formation, okay, as well, because I'd mentioned crystals earlier, and there's a property called, and I hope I can get this right, piezoelectricity present in crystals such as quartz or in biological matter like bone, proteins, and even DNA. It's an accumulation of electric charge that occurs due to mechanical stress.
Right.
And it says, hit or squeeze a crystal hard enough, it produces electricity. Think about cigarettes or any other cigarette lighters or any kind of portable sparkers. Now picture a crystalline structure standing several miles tall, like this tree. If this is a tree, okay, and by the way, this is if these are trees, they are mega trees with silicone-based organisms, which are silicone-based. Okay, so picture the crystalline structure standing several miles tall, and imagine the voltage output just through the effects of gravity pulling down on it. Okay?
Wow.
Just think about that. Okay, it's just something to ponder and to think about. If these are giant trees, if they are petrified trees, if they have turned to, what is that, quartz or some kind of crystalline
Quartz,
structure in them, think about the power that these things are generating right here.
Yeah.
And they're in a national park. What's under national parks? Underground facilities. How are they being powered? We get UFOs, we get cryptids in these national parks. Oh man, y'all, I don't know.
We were just talking about this the other night on our show, and I brought up in Arizona, you've got the Painted Desert National Park. The Painted Desert. Why is it the only place that has all this colored sand? The only place.
Wow.
Petrified Forest is really close to it. Why is it the only place that has giant chunks of petrified trees? They should be all over. So that kind of threw me, like, why only in Arizona they have those two little national, but the color, the Painted Desert, what was underneath it? What was that made all that color?
Whoa.
Makes you wonder.
Yeah, it is. It's really odd, you know. And something else that I find really interesting too is, I mean, I used to buy, you know, I have a jewelry shop, and real popular back in the 1920s, the early 1900s. I forgot the name of that Post. Oh gosh, what is the name of that Southwest jewelry company? They did like tourist jewelry and stuff, and I forgot the name of it. I think it's like Southwest Post or something. Anyways, they specialize in not only turquoise but petrified wood jewelry, like the stone, because it's like a crystal. It crystallizes, and I tell you, that's one of the most beautiful stone. I call it a stone, okay, because it is like a quartz, and it's red and it's black and grays, and it's got little crystal specks. It's absolutely beautiful.
We've got some big pieces upstairs. Petrified wood is gorgeous.
Yeah, and we have a park close to us. It's about 35 minutes away, 30 minutes away.
Yeah.
And they actually have a petrified tree that was brought from Arizona to here in our park. And I played on it when I was a kid, and it looks like a tree still, but it's petrified. It looks like a rock. I mean, it looks exactly like the outside of Devil's Tower, if you ask me.
Wow. Oh my gosh. Well, that's pretty fantastic. Okay. And so, yeah, it's just a matter of paying attention to the things around us and questioning the narrative. Okay. Renee is here. Hello, Renee. He says in Norse mythology, Yggdrasil, if I pronounce it right, is the immense ash tree that serves as the cosmic tree connecting all 9 worlds within the Norse cosmology, mythology, and legend is based in oral truths. Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Trees are very important. Okay, the cosmic trees, and this is an interesting comment from Mark. Hello, Cryptidville. He says maybe it's a petrified beanstalk that was cut down when the giant tried to come down and get after Jack.
Oh,
well, that's thinking outside the box too. I can appreciate that. I can definitely appreciate that. There's so many connections we could probably make right now. I think that the whole idea of if these are trees and them having this petrified crystal makeup and being able to be an energy source, which I think this is interesting because I believe this might be in my remote viewing data actually.
Oh.
Okay. Yeah. We should probably get to the data. Okay.
All right.
Because I think that what is it powering? Is this why there are so many UFO sightings in some of these national parks and out in the Southwest? Area 51 is out in Nevada? Okay. Out in the mid to southwest out there, lots of UFO sightings.
Right.
And stuff.
And we've seen plenty of videos where volcanoes erupt, and then you actually have an electrical charge where it has its own storm above it. You see lightning and bad weather above the volcano after it erupts or while it's erupting. Yeah. And you see UFOs coming in over the volcano. So are they getting energy? Are they getting charges from that storm? So maybe they were getting charges from Devil's Tower if the quartz is putting out energy through the top of it.
Oh yeah, exactly. There's something more going on. And I think this fella over here, this is actually the second article that I was just reading from, is actually from a Russian blogger. Okay. And I do not know his name. It's all in Russian and it's just a bunch of symbols in my book. So I don't know what his name is. I don't read Russian, y'all, and I don't know their alphabet. So thank you to this guy who is a Russian blogger here. Because so I think this is fantastic. This is not any kind of in some kind of science journal or anything. This is from this guy's own research. And I think it's just wonderful. I love it when people think outside the box. Okay. With all of this. So very interesting. What is Althastan? Is that how you pronounce your name here? In Colson's 4 mile high tree, you could put a fairy city up in that tree. You could put human cities up in that tree, probably. Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And so if there is a 4 mile high tree, if they're that big, what else possible? Imagine like the network inside those trees, whole civilizations living inside the tree and under the tree.
Well, we don't even know what the energy and say elementals or whatever. We don't even know if that tree, the Devil's Tower, what if it's a portal? What if it's a gateway?
Yes, exactly. It probably was. And especially, Renee had mentioned the Norse mythology when it comes to the trees as well. I mean, there's in civilizations all over the world probably have some sort of a tale or a legend or some kind of oral tradition when it comes to these trees of life, the energy bringers, whatever you want to call these things, all over. And yet they're not here anymore.
Right.
Okay?
So we know trees from studying them and reading reports that a tree, if an insect attacks it, it will notify trees on its root system, its system, and tells them how to protect itself and that, hey, there's an invasive species coming and it's not good. So what if these giant trees, like we said, are a mother tree? What if there's other mother trees in other countries, other places around the world that are connected? So just like that thing you read or the chat where they're connected to other worlds. So maybe this mother tree for us is connected to a root system that could transport you to another world.
Oh my gosh, yes. Or to the other side of our world.
Right.
I don't know if they're that deep. I mean, I know. And this is an interesting comment too from Sovereign Cosmic Wildman says, ain't it funny how national parks are governed by the Department of the Interior?
Okay. Interior.
Yeah. What interior? Inner Earth? He says. Yeah. I mean, of course, we're taught it's the interior of the United States. Okay. But there's an interior inside, the earth as well.
Right.
So
and lizard people.
And lizard people. And reports of those lizard people go back at least to the 1500s. Okay, because I just did a show on that yesterday, where the Spanish explorers, were talking about the fishmen in South Carolina, or Chicora, as it was called back then. So
the conquistadors had a hard time. Not only Native Americans, but little people, ant people, lizard people, Bigfoots, dogmen. They had a rough time coming over here to the United States.
Yeah, they did.
North America.
Yeah, no wonder the lost city or village of Roanoke disappeared. I'd take off too. I'm just kidding. They're probably safer where they were actually, but
makes you wonder why no other country really wanted to hold on to North America that bad. Every country gave it up, except for us crazy that stayed here.
I know, right? Yes, and we fought for it too, for
That's
sure.
Right.
It was worth it. It was worth it for sure. All right, before we get into the data, I just wanted to kind of touch on a couple more things about the silicone-based life. Okay, if these trees are like silicone, if they are trees, if the Devil's Tower is a tree, so the silicone-based life is derived from a hypothetical form of biochemistry where carbon atoms are substituted with silicone atoms. I know this is all scientific, y'all, and but okay, trying to get to the part where the crystals are here. Okay, while silica or quartz, okay, here, I'm going to get to the meat and potatoes. While silica or quartz, SiO4, is abundant in the universe and on our planet, it simply cannot sustain life here. In order to do that, it would need to maintain a liquid form. The melting point of quartz revolves around 3,000 degrees Fahrenheit. The Earth has never seen surface temperatures this high. And so, let's see. However, it says the mountains and plateaus we see today are formed through, okay, this is what the critics were saying of this guy's information. Okay, so that's what I was just reading to you guys. This is what the scientists or experts say is wrong with his hypothesis here. Okay, is that it actually it couldn't happen today because mountains are just mountains, plateaus are just plateaus, and they were all formed through verified and accepted geological processes. It says verified and accepted. So these have been accepted by people who have their pockets lined by the government,
Right.
whoever tells them to say what they need to say. Okay, this is for entertainment purposes only.
Right.
How
So
dare you be a free thinker?
Out of the 6 billion people on Earth, we have a panel of 12 that says it's verified.
And they're all sponsored by Procter and Gamble or something. Entertainment purposes only.
And the Keebler company.
4 out of 5
Keeblers.
dentists recommend.
Yes. Oh my gosh, exactly. Okay, well, let's get into the remote viewing data. Okay, because that's partly why we're here tonight. You know, I think it's more important for me is the fact that we just bring this out to the public and talk about it.
Right.
The remote viewing data is just remote viewing data. Okay, like I stand behind it 100%. This was a practice target from earlier in the year. Okay, and so this was a blind target. I had no idea what this was. I was given a set of coordinates. Okay, 8 numbers, 2 sets of 4. Okay. And that's all I had. And I got some really cool data out of this. And we're going to go over the majority of this data today, right now. And this is over Devil's Tower in Wyoming. Okay. Devil's Tower, Wyoming. This is the remote viewing data right here. And, and I want to, before we get into the data, I want to thank everybody who just gave super stickers here. Okay. So let me do this before we get going, so I don't forget. Eobage. Eobage, is that how you say your name? Our planet. Thank you for the super sticker. First of all, our planet Gaia is highly desired planet in this galaxy. She holds life inside and out. She has all the life DNA in this galaxy. If one DNA goes extinct, it can be replaced from another planet. Very interesting.
Nice.
I love your name too, by the way. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for your support and for that wonderful, wonderful comment right there. Okay, and also before I get into the data, thank you, JoJo, so much for being here. Thank you for that support. Thank you for the super sticker. And I just love you to death. I appreciate you being here. Okay. And also Elise Tanner, thank you so much for the super sticker and for your support as well. Oh my gosh, you guys are so sweet. And I appreciate each and every one of y'all today. So thank y'all for that. Okay. Now I'm going to pull up a picture of the Devil's Tower as I speak about the data tonight. Okay. Let's see which one's the best picture. Let's get this one, because it shows you the enormity of how big that tree stump is. Just kidding. Of the national monument. And okay, so let's get into the data. So some of my sensory data for this target is disillusion, confused, reckless, abandoned, big, grand, stop, breathing, massive, and corrupted. Okay, that was some of my data, my sensory data. Okay, so now let's go into the analytic overlay for that sensory data. Okay, first of all, the first thing I wrote down was confusion. A big deal. Grand scheme, like a grand scheme, something in the grand scheme of things. And I wrote limit, cut off, and halt. Limit, cut off, and halt.
Halt.
Yes, halt.
Like stop a project. Stop something.
Yes. Yes. And so then I wrote supply chain.
Oh.
I know, right? Isn't this interesting how the data, let me take this off so we can talk. We need to talk for a minute here.
That was good.
Interesting, right? So big deal, a grand scheme. Okay, in the grand scheme of things, limit, cut off, and halt. And then we go into a supply chain is the next thing I write down. So to cut off a supply chain.
Right.
And then listen, the next thing I wrote down was vein. So I obviously didn't know which kind of vein it was. So I wrote down VEIN and VAIN.
Oh,
vein
okay.
and vein. Vein and vein. Okay. But I wrote down vein, VEIN first. So imagine I was just talking about veins of quartz, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And these things be whatever, if this was a tree, we're saying if this was a giant tree, it being a supply chain, basically. It supplies the shade, the home, the fruits, everything. So, so something was being cut off, halted. Yep. And it has to do with the vein of like a supply chain vein. Okay.
Right.
And I wrote down life, blood, pulse, and heartbeat. Okay.
Mm.
And then get this, guess the next thing I wrote down, I heard a voice say, I wrote down in ear quotes, as above, so below.
Mm-hmm.
Wild, right? And then I wrote down massive undertaking, God. I wrote God in all caps, God, God.
Wow.
Okay. And then I wrote down the next two things I wrote down were unharnessed and energy. Unharnessed energy. Yeah. Now for my drawing, I drew, I think I drew this. I must have drawn this when I wrote as above, so below, because I put an arrow going up and an arrow going down and a line in between them.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And I do want to make a note that my AI, which is like it's like what I'm experiencing. I started crying when I was doing this because I wrote down crying.
Mm.
Okay. So I was like getting emotional when I was doing this target, which is weird. Okay. It's not weird. It's not uncommon, but it's a little odd. And I think and I wrote down crying, emotional, upset, and sick. So that's how I was feeling when I was doing this target.
Wow.
So there was something that was made me highly emotional. Okay. When I was remote viewing this thing right here, the Devil's Tower, and I've still got a whole other page. I got my stage 4 to go to next. But
Wow.
what do y'all think about that? What do you think that this data is on target? And do you think that it's because this is just some kind of regular, lava thing that popped out of the ground? Do you think it could be a tree? What do y'all think?
I mean, without even knowing your data, you didn't tell us beforehand. We mentioned almost every one of those subjects while us and you were talking before the show during the show. I mean, I think your sadness comes from knowing, what if this was a living tree and they chopped it down to stop the growth of their protection of the environment and the animals and anything that survived off of that mother tree. I mean, they did that on purpose. That's what's sad to me.
It's like it's a life source, life source for so many things. And of course, it's going to make you sad that it's being destroyed. There goes your life source of many sources.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look at what's happening in our world today. Mm-hmm. It's almost like everything is here to kill us. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm just saying, that's how I feel sometimes. It's like everything is working against humanity at this point, except for us, except for humans, real humans, those of us that are real humans out here. I mean, and I know there's other beings on this earth that are not 100% human as well. I don't know if all of us are 100% human. I don't know anymore. Okay. But there are good forces here that are working on the behalf of humanity. I know that for positive. And I wrote down God in the data too. Is this just like a history repeating itself over and over again? Like there's just always been these resets where we're white, humanity, the beings here, whoever's living here is just wiped out over and over and over again for some sort of maybe an agenda. I mean, I don't know.
It's weird. Like you said, you have so many resets and they try to damper us and dumb us down, but yet we persevere. So who else but a creator would be able to foil their plans, and we keep surviving and making it through all these resets and getting our technology, our wisdom, and everything back to the way it was. And they gotta try it again. But I mean, it's never ending. I think it's been since the world's been created.
There's like, they're waking up. Time for a reset.
Yeah, they're waking up. They're getting too smart.
Mm-hmm. You gotta stop.
Oh man. Yeah, they're getting too smart. Hey, Lenita. Lenita's in the chat today. Hey, lady. She says, maybe the tree was crying out to God.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, if it's a mother tree, or we speculated like a tree of life, like in the biblical terms, that is going to create a network. And you were talking about veins, and whether it's crystal veins or even blood flow veins. I mean, just look at our human body. When you see pictures of them where they've dissected bodies, you have a nervous system, you have an energy source, your blood source, your blood veins. So all those veins probably went out and fed that whole region. And like, if we talked about it being connected to other worlds, other planets, other parts of the US, other countries, maybe that was part of a big network that we haven't been able to figure out yet.
Yes, exactly. Yes. And I love honest content. Brings up this is the fact that quartz holds memory.
Yes.
And And what are our watches made out of, and computers, and we're made of crystals too, right? I mean,
Right.
humans are just stardust basically, but we have crystals inside of our pineal gland. Is made of crystal, right? I don't know. Okay, so but honest content says the pitch of the tree could have turned into quartz. Quartz holds memory. And the trees do hold memory. They'll hold a grudge. Y'all better be nice to your trees, okay? They'll grab you when you walk by. Just be
They'll
careful.
grab you at night. Yeah.
Well, and trees are portals too,
Right.
maybe. So
The other thing is Jane noticed something about that picture you had up. You want to bring that picture back up?
sure. Let's see. Which one did I have up? This one or
Nope.
another
Nope.
one?
The,
One
the
with the-
overhead view, that
This
one.
one. Okay.
Yeah, you can see in the distance that there's other plateaus, not as high as Devil's Tower, but those
Ooh.
two kind of look like tree stumps also in the distance.
So what if those were cut down low and Devil's Tower was halted before they got it chopped down to that height of the other trees?
Yes, that's a good point.
It looks like there's a tree stumps back there in the distance.
That's a great observation. And okay, that actually just reminded me of something. Okay, so when we, you guys have done a lot of research on Egypt potentially
Mhm.
being in the United States, and at some point I was doing some research on Egypt being here. Okay,
Yep.
and maybe even some of these, I want to say like earthen mounds, some of these like Mayan ruins and stuff that are here in Georgia, places where there were settlements like the Etowah Indian mounds here in Georgia,
Right.
places even where pyramids were built. Okay, anywhere a pyramid was built, a lot of times they'll show these pyramids being built on old tree stumps.
Right.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Okay,
Mhm.
what's up with that? Those have to be gigantic tree stumps, right?
Right.
Because pyramids ain't small.
No, they're not.
Gosh, my brain just exploded. I just started thinking, wait a second. Now we got to go down this rabbit hole.
There's
But,
too many rabbit holes.
Yeah, I'm done. I got to stick to my script over here. Okay, with my remote viewing targets. That is too funny. Okay, but okay. So let's get back, I guess, to the data because
Okay.
my brain is working overtime live on air right now. Okay, so the last things that I wrote down on my stage 1 through 3 of my remote viewing data for this were unharnessed. It was as above, so below, massive undertaking, God in all caps, unharnessed and energy. And that was the last thing I wrote down. Now I went over to my next page of stage 4. And the first thing that I wrote down was corrupted and corruption. Energetic, but with that I wrote energetic. So maybe it's like an energetic corruption. And I wrote down energetic pull, magnetic, dead and dying. And I picked up something that was dry and dead and dry. But I also was picking up on something that was magnificent, of valor, valiant, and honorable. And I wrote down pillar of the community.
Right.
Mhm.
What is a tree? A tree is a pillar, right?
Right.
Right.
And I was picking up on something about bragging, like bragging with some of my sensory data and important. And the last thing I wrote down was bragging rights for that. So and then I obviously it was just a practice target. I only did a couple of pages of data here. So, but I think it's pretty cool though.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying I was picking up on something that I thought was dead. Okay, so maybe it was just because it was that was the target, and it looks like maybe it looks like a dead tree or something. I guess maybe that's why I wrote that. But I don't know. I mean, if this has crystal, if it has crystallized, and if this is a tree,
It's still alive.
Yeah, it's still alive.
very much alive. It just looks dead. Okay, it looks dry and stuff. But
Well, for the natural world, what seems dead could be alive. I mean, we all know that. I mean, you have to have an open mind and open your eyes, whether it's your third eye or not, to be able to see what is actually still alive and not dead. So maybe the whoever chopped down the tree, like we said, if it was part of a reset to try to get rid of the main source for whatever was living at that time when that tree was cut down, maybe they were triumphing, saying, "See what we did? We took them down. We did it." But yet they didn't. The tree is still alive if it's full of crystals and giving off spark and energy.
Yeah. It's almost like the earth got shaved down at some point,
Mm-hmm.
didn't
Right.
it?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, that's just wild. I don't know.
Now,
And it never grew back though, too, which is weird.
it's obvious it was cut also. It's not like a Sasquatch going into the tree, the forest, ripping trees or breaking them in half, because you can see all the damage.
No splinters.
There's no splinters. There's no damage. That was just perfectly cut. It was not knocked over.
Oh, yeah.
You would be able to see the damage.
Yeah. It's, I don't know. I just keeps getting that thought of like the mud floods that we're having, that we've had throughout the centuries and stuff. And I know that it's a conspiracy theory, right? Even though I don't believe it was a conspiracy theory, and I have done some remote viewing on that. There have definitely been mud floods. We're having mud floods today,
Right?
Absolutely.
and it's wiping out stuff. I mean, from the combined efforts of the man-made lakes covering up our history to the floods that we're having through, and this is all for entertainment purposes only, potentially through weather modification and things like that, bringing all this extra rain in, the dams breaking. Okay.
Yep.
There being dams there in the first place, that's also something that is unnatural. Okay?
Oh yeah.
But I don't know. So I was telling somebody today, I was like, the earth. Oh, I know who it is. Yeah, I was telling a friend today, I was like, the earth is resetting itself right now, maybe. I mean, I don't know.
Revealing some truths. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, maybe that's what's going on. I don't know.
Oh.
Wow.
I don't know. Renee says opals are created from tree sap from ancient sequoias. That's some trivia for you guys today.
There you go.
Some trivia.
And
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure if it's thousands of millions of years before it turns into stone. I think some kind of event suddenly turned things to petrified.
Yeah. Yes. Well, okay. Well, we also did a show. I've done a show on where I had remote viewed the Russian soldiers that were turned to limestone after they
Right.
shot down a UFO with a missile in the Ukraine. And
Yep.
all but 2 were turned to stone because 2 people ducked behind something whenever the ETs came out of this craft and formed into an orb. This is all in a declassified KGB document, CIA and KGB. And it turned all of their bodies when the composition was studied, they were limestone.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And this happened instantly with some kind of technology.
Yeah.
And,
That's biblical too, turning into stone.
oh,
Right.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
You've probably had many campfires too, and we have in our backyard where you watch a log burn and it doesn't all turn to ash. A lot of times it breaks off into squares or tubes. It doesn't fall, and how it falls apart, and the ambers inside burn. Everybody's watched those ambers burn inside those cubes on a burnt piece of log. Well, what if Devil's Tower experienced like a heat ray or some kind of nuclear blast that melted it and turned it into like a burning stump, and that's how it granulized and left those marks on the outside. Those
100%. It
maybe
could have.
it was the Atlanteans and Lemurians during their war that hit that tree.
Mm-hmm. It could be. It could be. I'll have a little bit of more information. Actually, this is a page that I couldn't find a while ago, and I found it. Okay, and this is in regards to the trees being crystals.
Mm-hmm.
That's a tree stump. We're saying if, and this is all about it would be from the silicone of that tree, of the chemical, the composition of it, with sunlight as their main power source. These crystal trees, could have served many functions like power generation or communication devices. There could be a connection with Devil's Tower, as it being a remnant of one of those organisms, and the fact that it was prominently featured in the 1977 movie classic Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Not only that, but the structure was a crucial plot element and constituted a powerful attractor for aliens. And once I'm going to show this picture. Okay, there we go. I'm going to show this picture of the Close Encounters of the Third Kind. This is actually a very well-known part of that movie, and it's a big part of the movie, where the mothership comes down over Devil's Tower. Okay, and so of course, why would it not be some kind of an attractor for aliens, some kind of quartz, you know, and I'm so glad that we're having this conversation tonight, because I do talk extensively about the quartz being a big part of our cryptid field research. When we're out there chasing Dogman and we're looking for Bigfoot, there's usually quartz. And we also can't discount the missing people in all these national parks as well. You know, and I'm saying the cryptids are a part of it, but with all that quartz, you know, that has potential to open portals.
Right.
Portals.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, just like you talk about your portal that opened up in the meadow, your research area. We've had a portal or some kind of moving portal that Jane tried to film, and it wiped out our camera because it was putting off so much energy.
That was like 8 years ago, too.
Yeah.
It was a square portal that was following along the tree line, and it was a good size. And I was just getting ready to record it on my ATN night vision binoculars. It fried that thing out totally. We couldn't turn it back on. Sent it into the company. They couldn't fix it. They turned around and sent us a new one. Something fried that ATN night vision binoculars out.
So what if these veins of quartz is what's it's powering these portals, like you were saying? That'd be interesting to find a map to see if all the portals that people report are on a ley line or a quartz line.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh, you know what? I do have a map of ley lines. Oh, Susan, that is a great question. Hold on, I'm going to come right back to that one. We're not going to skip over that question right there. Okay, let's look at the ley line map right here. And I guess, what is this in? We are looking at, this is Wyoming, right? I keep getting confused. Wyoming or Montana?
It's in Wyoming, close to Montana. Yeah,
Okay.
it's in Wyoming.
So let's see that map. I have to
It'd be
personally.
close to a ley line. There's some ley lines over there in Montana and Wyoming.
Oh yeah, there's ley lines all through there.
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't know exactly where it's at in there, but that is the ley line map. If anybody knows exactly the location of where Devil's Tower is, that is the ley line map right there. So you guys check that out. I did not do thorough investigation before I went live on the show tonight with that, but that's the ley line map. If you guys want to compare that to it. Now I want to go back to what Susan just asked, because that was really good, and she was asking. Question: did the pyramids have to be built to replace the big trees that were destroyed as power generators?
Oh,
that makes sense. Why they were built on top of stumps. Interesting.
Thank you, Susan. Gosh,
Yeah.
I love my audience. You guys
Thank
are
you,
so
Susan.
smart.
Yeah, we're all thinking out loud. That's what's
Yes, we're all thinking out loud.
maybe that's why the Egyptian culture moved into the Mississippi Valley and the Missouri Valley and in the Grand Canyon, was to bring that technology over here to replace what the trees were doing.
Gosh, you guys, I know. We better not be getting knocks on our door tonight, okay?
I'll refer them to Dennis Carroll, my lawyer.
Yeah. Ernie. Oh my gosh. It wouldn't be the first time, okay, that happened. And,
Poor
I
Dennis.
love it. I know this is really we're getting deep. Like, I am literally sweaty right now. I'm not gonna lie, I got really sweaty. Because
Must be hitting on the truth here then, huh?
we are.
Yeah.
I am sweating. Maybe I'm sweating because I'm worried because I'm gonna get a knock on my door. Okay. Because we're really diving into this. And so thank you so much, Susan. That is just mind-blowing right there. For sure. And go back and look at old drawings of like maps of some of the old world, pyramids and things like that.
Right.
Where they place them on top of what look like tree stumps.
Yes.
Man.
Even mound builders. I mean, there was somebody here before the mound builders, so they built on top of what they left. And if you look down in South America, even the Incas and all them, they built on top of and on top of and on top of. So there was multiple generations or civilizations that built on top of foundations of others.
Yeah, we're just civilizations built on top of other civilizations.
Yes.
Right.
Golly, no wonder they can't keep up with our history. Probably that's why it's just hidden, because nobody knows. I don't know.
I think somebody knows.
Somebody knows. Vatican knows, something like that.
They covered it up for a reason. So
Yeah.
it wasn't like, oops, we lost our history.
It's important. Okay. And yeah, anything that's been covered up, that just means that it's very important.
Yeah.
And it's dangerous to get in the hands of smart people like this audience and are, right here tonight. So so don't come at me, 3-letter agencies. Okay.
There's nothing to see here.
Nothing to see here. Thank you, Skip.
Nothing to see here.
Nothing to see here, y'all. But yes, this is a lot of fun. It's for entertainment purposes only. And Skip, thank you so much for being here again. I appreciate you, and thank you for your support. It means the world to me. Okay, well, we still have 2 more targets. Okay,
right. Yeah,
we still have 2 more. Okay,
y'all just as good as this one.
Y'all are in it here for the long haul, right? Okay.
Yep,
that's fine. If I sneak out, I might have to close the barn up real quick, though. We got
okay.
It's going to be getting dark here soon.
Well, this was the long one. Okay, so this the Devil's Tower was the one that I had the most information on. Okay, so the others will breeze through kind of, but that was this. Those were the important ones, I think. And I do think that it's important that we do connect also the Avatar movie to this as well, and the symbolism in the Avatar movie with the big tree and how it was the center of their community, of their whole region, of their whole world, basically. And and then the factions came in, the opposing faction came in and decimated it, tore the tree down through alien technology. Okay. So
how they were connected to the trees.
Yes, they're all connected.
They transferred their the living essence into the avatar through the tree. Remember that scene?
Yes. Well, there's different types of trees too. Now, this is the movie we're talking about, y'all. So they had different trees actually. I'm not sure these are different trees for different movies. I can't remember, like, 'cause there's more than one Avatar movie. But they had the Tree of Souls. They had the Tree of Voices. Okay, and so this was. I'll read what these are. The Tree of Souls is a sacred site for the Amadakaya Navi clan and their closest connection to Iwa. At the center of the caldera-shaped enclave is a tall willow-like tree with long bioluminescent tendrils and a large root system that radiates out. The Navi link the Iwa through the tree to petition for guidance, performing a healing rite, or to express gratitude for maintaining the balance of life. Okay, so let's just say that these things were the balance. This is how we're balanced out, how the earth is balanced. As above, so below, right? That was in my data. And when something comes in, some opposing faction comes in, let's just say, I'm just going to say extraterrestrial, okay, or whatever, comes in and cuts off the life here.
Right.
That throws everything off balance. And it seems like this world has been off balance for a long time. And maybe that's just, I've only been here for a few years. Okay. In the grand scheme of things, I've only been here a few years. Exactly.
This reminds me of the mushroom network. The network underground is massive and huge, and it shoots out all these tiny little mushrooms, all different kinds. What if these trees were kind of like the big giant network, and then there was all these little trees underneath? So it was the main source, like a motherboard. And they knew just to knock down all the main source, and it damaged the rest. Yeah,
it probably so. Absolutely. There's just, the mushroom networks. I've thought about that too, with like the whole fungus, the fungal.
Yeah, the network itself is huge underground, but it shoots out tiny little mushrooms up on top of the surface.
And I think they've even said even the tree network connects with the mushroom network.
Wow.
So it's almost like you have a main hub,
the
main source. Then you have these little hubs that can continue all the way through till it gets to the next destination.
Yeah. Oh man, I love this. I love it. Yeah. Mr. E from Cryptids of the Corn has really done a lot of extensive research on the fungal networks and stuff. So if you guys want to go check out a good podcast, shout out to Mr. E. He came on my show a while back. It's been a long time since he's been. I need to invite him back on.
We've had him on twice. Yeah.
We talked about the mushroom network, and we talked about the jellyfish UFOs.
Up in the sky. Yeah, jellyfish and other strange aquatics up in the sky. Yeah, he's very knowledgeable.
Oh my gosh, I love it. And so, and it's the same with these trees with the communication network underneath. Right. And what better way? Okay, let's think about this in terms of the art of war. right? What's one of the first things that the enemy will knock out, or you want to knock out of your enemy? It's your communications.
Communications, right?
Mm-hmm.
Man, I know my head's exploding tonight, y'all. Yeah, it's the communications. You want to knock out their ability to communicate, and yeah. So maybe that's why they cut whoever did. If these were trees, that's why they were cut down. Because there's obviously a lot of trees, I think, that have been cut down if these are trees. And I also wanted to point out too, there's another like a plateau that's pretty well known. Oh, this is one out of Australia. I think JoJo's from Australia, who's in here right now. There's
the big red.
Yeah, there's a lot of these places are all over the world, y'all. But this is just one out of Australia. It's called the Uluru, I think is what that one's called.
Wow.
So that's just one out of a whole bunch. Okay, out of a whole.
It's not like a mountain range either. They're individual. Like they're just kind of there by themselves.
They're just there by itself, just like this.
Yeah.
Except for actually, okay. So Jane, looking in the background at those plateaus, they look bigger than the Devil's Tower.
Yes, I was looking at that. They, they look like they would be bigger and wider.
Interesting. Okay.
Wow. Yeah.
Wow.
Let your mind blow.
I know. I never in a million years. I was almost frazzled before we started the show today because I've been doing so much research and grocery shopping all day and doing all sorts of crazy stuff. And so, but this is really going well tonight. So thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you to this audience. This audience this is blowing my mind tonight.
They're on fire.
Yeah, they're on fire.
The chat is on fire.
Yes. Okay. Well, let's get to the next target. Okay. And we're going to do the King of Wings. Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
The King of Wings. Now this is really cool. All right. This is the one where it looks like an axe sitting on top of a stump. All right. Now this is so we can apply if this could be that may be an old tree stump. I don't know. And if it is, we can apply what we just learned about the Devil's Tower to this same thing. But yet this has something that looks like a tool on top of it. Okay?
Right.
And I guess we can talk again about. Let's talk about what this is. So this is a rock formation named the King of Wings by 21st century explorers and satellite imagery experts who first located it at the Badlands of the San Juan Basin. It looks suspiciously like a giant axe set on top of an equally giant stump of petrified wood. Okay, now this is in New Mexico, and the dramatic formation is about the size of a van. Okay, so to me, this looked like it was way bigger.
Yeah,
okay?
The picture makes it look huge.
It looks huge, but you can go sit up underneath that, and it's like squatting up underneath your front deck on your house. Okay,
yeah.
If that's any way to like describe it, I don't know.
Because I think the handle, what I read, stretches out about 10 feet from the base.
Yes, yeah, it's not as large as you might think. Okay, but it's still big.
Even a 10 foot, even a 10 foot handle, that's big. Yeah.
Yep.
So it says natural weather and gravity will probably topple it within 100 years or so. So they're expecting this thing to eventually fall. But yeah, is this proof that giants once existed? I don't know. What do y'all think? Do y'all think this is probably giants? This is a giant axe.
I think it's a giant.
I think so too.
He must have just laid down his axe after he chopped something down and forgot about it.
Kind of like the Tin Man. Maybe he got rusty and he turned into a mountain somewhere in there.
I know, right? That was Paul Bunyan's right there, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think Paul Bunyan was even that big.
But you know, the weird thing about where this King of Wings is called the Valley of Dreams, the whole area. And there's more than just that hoodoo there. There's one that's called the Alien Throne.
Oh,
there's also
really?
There's also the Three Wise Men. So there's a bunch of them that are named in that area. So, but the Alien's Throne is the one that's really interesting besides this King's Wings.
Wow.
The Alien's Throne. Gosh, I got to look at that one. Yeah.
Paramar.
Yeah. So there it is. Proof of the existence of Paul Bunyan. I don't know. I don't know for sure, but it could be. It was some sort of probably a giant. If that's an axe.
Right.
Okay. Petrified axe too. So, okay. Well, let's just get into the data of this because, I guess I can pull up the picture of this as we're talking. And I wish I had a picture. had it pulled up, but I had a picture of a man squatted down underneath it, but I don't know who that man is. I didn't want to put him on blast on my channel because I don't know. Maybe one day I'll go visit this place and I'll get a picture of me sitting under it. You guys can see, okay? But some of my sensory yeah, go walk on the top of the axe. Yeah, I'm sure that would go over well. Like, I wonder if anybody has ever gotten on top of that and walked on it. I hope not. Okay.
Probably. There's a
I would think somebody would.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they go up on Devil's Tower and sky jump off of it and parachute off of the top.
Picture. Yeah. I would be careful. I do not recommend that anyone who's watching right now, do not go do that. Okay. So, all right. Oh, there's a lot of conversation in the chat right now about the pyramids and stuff too. So,
oh, nice.
We put out a lot of stuff to think about tonight so far. Okay. All right. So let's go back. Let me pull the picture up and then we'll go over the data. All right. Okay. So the sensory data, I wrote down, this is what I wrote down. I wrote down flexible, hard, lengthy, tall, solid, crumble, pointed, dusty, dry, exploring, and crashed. That's what I wrote down. Okay. So, and this is what the target is. It was, I guess the prompt is just a picture. This was because this is one of my practice targets that I was given. And it was just this picture. So my analytic overlay, I wrote down rivets, pivot, prolonged moment in time, ball joint. I was basically writing down, that sounds like hardware, doesn't it?
Yeah.
That's weird. Okay, so hardware. I wrote down moment in time, ball joint, arrow, weapon. I wrote down arrow and weapon. Okay, so weapon is in my data. I wrote down the word killer, intervened, takeover, surpass, cover up, desert. And then I heard move away. And then I wrote an arrow pointing to underground, move away, underground, take up space, Voyager, and Red Dead. Okay. So some of this data may not make any sense for this target. I don't know, but that was just part of my data for this target for the first and second stages. And then what I drew, actually, this is interesting because if you'd like to see my, I'll show you guys my stage 3 drawing. I drew just what looks like it's kind of weird, right? It's like a little
tree stump.
It looks like a tree stump with something with things pointing at it. So that's kind of cool.
You said something about Red
Dead.
And it just occurred to me, if that's an axe, what if that's like the chopping block for
heads
decapitating somebody?
Oh,
ooh, that's interesting.
Horrible.
I don't know.
Oh,
off with their heads.
So.
Red Dead axe. I mean, how can I put that together?
Yeah,
it was a weapon. I wrote down weapon. And that's the thought. That's the thought, Gary. That's right.
Show Joe.
Yeah. It could be because I wrote the word. We're not supposed to say this on YouTube, but killer is on there. Okay, in the data, and absolutely. I mean,
wow.
I don't know either.
Well,
in South America and all the Incas and Aztecs, they unalive people and use the blood, and I mean, so they would have altars that they would lay the victim or the sacrifice on. So
wow.
I don't know.
Yeah, totally. I don't know. It's just another way to look at this from another angle here. Okay, that's why I love remote viewing. It's anything is possible here. You can interpret the data however you choose. All right, with that.
It makes you think.
It could be. I mean, didn't they say like the mud floods were, from a biblical stance, the mud floods were here, or the Great Flood, not the mud flood, but the Great Flood wiped out all the, what was it, the Nephilim or something, right?
Yes.
Okay, so maybe this was like a wipeout of the giants or something. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, we don't know which side was beheading people, if it was a good side or bad side. Maybe somebody was eliminating enemy.
Yeah, maybe so. I mean, how many resets have we had actually? And
a lot.
We don't know. We don't know the exact number.
Yeah, because I think there's a difference between Earth reset, the whole Earth, or just human reset,
or a galactic reset.
Right. We don't know.
But if it was like alien technology, it would have been like laser beams and stuff, I would think.
I
Not
would
an
think.
axe.
Yeah.
Axe
I
seems
would
pretty
think so.
primitive, right?
Mhm.
So
Yeah, but they can have magical powers attached to them.
they sure can. Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, let me go to the stage 4 data. Okay.
Okay.
Because it's also kind of weird too. Okay. So I wrote down Earth. Earth was in my data. Earth in a moment's notice. Earth a
Oh.
moment's notice.
Ooh.
And I wrote down hot, fire, completion. And then I was seeing what I thought my location. I felt like I was on a prairie, a landscape, and there was vegetation there. Okay, so a prairie landscape vegetation, luscious vegetation with a garden. Okay, I actually wrote down Garden of Good and Evil in Eden.
Oh
So
wow.
that's biblical right
Yes,
there.
it
Yeah.
is.
Mm-hmm.
And then and then it was like luscious vegetation, trees, bushes, vegetation were some of my tangibles. And I wrote down Eden, Garden of Good and Evil, Eden, and then scorched earth. So I wrote
Oh
down
my.
scorched earth.
Oh.
So that's kind of all over the board right there, right? But it's
Yeah.
like something. It's pretty biblical.
Yeah. Well, there is like a third of the earth that looks like it got burned up. The
Yeah.
desert areas.
It
Mhm.
does.
Mhm.
I mean, what if it's got to do with? They say the Grand Canyon is an after effect of a meteor, right, striking the Earth. I think that was mined. Okay, personally, it also
Could've
looks like
been
a copper mine. Yeah,
Hmm.
I don't know. That's another.
What
That
if
would make
it-
another good target.
What if it's some kind of force from an alien craft that went through there and made the canyon?
Oh yeah, could have
Could have
been.
been an energy force or some kind of device that whatever they were shooting at or trying to destroy or get rid of created the canyon.
Yeah, man. I don't know. Well, it's not what we've been told. That's for sure. Okay, at least I don't think. And then we got the Smithsonian going and plundering, pillaging.
That's
everything.
right.
So
Or the Vatican.
yeah. Okay. Well, this is interesting because in the data overall, okay, in my data there is a weapon, and it does look like an axe.
Mhm.
Right.
In that. Now, I'm not saying that this is 100%. This is definitely a tree stump or anything like that, and an axe. But according to the remote viewing data, and it could have just been the way that I was interpreting what I was seeing when I was remote viewing, not knowing what this is, that it just looks like an axe. Okay, maybe that's just what I thought I was looking at. Okay,
And it looks like a tree stump.
and it looks like a stump, but
It's out of place. Yeah.
yeah. But in the data, it would suggest that this is probably an actual weapon. I was picking up on rivets and ball joints. Not that has rivets and ball joints. I don't even know what those are. Okay. So, but anyways, it was in the data. So, I mean,
Well,
I
if
don't know.
there was wood on that handle, you would have some way of attaching it to the metal, which I'm assuming that the wood is gone and that's all the metal that's left. So maybe there was rivets holding the handle.
Yes. And okay, Sovereign says where the ground is red, there is gold. Okay. Man, gold has come up so much. I even had a gentleman who I have not written him back yet, and I will write you back if you're watching the show tonight, from my hometown. Okay. And I talked about the Paulding werewolves last week, and he sent me a pretty amazing message. I wrote him back. And he wrote me back, and I will write you back again. Okay. And, but anyways, talking about gold and not to get into details on that, because it doesn't have anything to do with this, but gold comes up a lot when we're talking about, especially cryptid sightings, anything paranormal happening, any kind of monsters and stuff like that. There's always gold, man. There's so much gold. And we talk about the Anunnaki. Didn't the Anunnaki, they say they came here to like
Mine gold.
mine gold?
What they say. Mhm.
I mean, if there's an Egyptian culture in North America, I mean, we just look at what we see and what we know about everything was gold plated, made out of gold.
Mhm.
The Spaniards, the conquistadors, they wanted gold. I mean, everybody in every civilization wants gold.
Right.
They do. That's why it's so expensive. MPW 333 says gold is 3,300 per ounce. Isn't that interesting? That 33 is in there.
There you go.
Yeah.
Of course. very interesting. But yeah, there's all, Bigfoot sightings are often around gold mines. And remember the 1920s, there are all the gold prospectors that were getting kidnapped by Bigfoots and attacked by Bigfoots, like Ape Canyon, and that gentleman that was in the Bigfoot burrito.
Yes.
With the sleeping bag, and I forgot Albert Osman. He was a gold prospector. Lots of gold mines and cryptid connections here. But yeah.
I would assume any precious metal, whether it's quartz, gold, whatever, somebody is probably looking for it and probably possessive over it, whether it's the cryptid world, alien world, human race.
Oh yeah, for sure. Tiger Eye, thank you so much for that super sticker. I appreciate that so much. You guys are so sweet. Everybody's so awesome. Okay. Very supportive, you guys. Thank y'all so much for that. And thank you for all this. This chat is off the chain tonight. Okay.
They are.
So good, so smart, so outside the box thinking. And I am just blown away by it. So
I feel weird not modding in it.
I know you guys are usually in here helping me mod. So yeah.
We're still reading chat. We're still checking it out.
Yes.
We just can't put Sovereign or anybody in timeout,
Oh my gosh.
Just kidding, Sovereign.
Shout out to Sovereign. He's got some great points. Yes. Okay. Could you imagine a Bigfoot making what did he say earlier? He was talking about how the Bigfoots would take the sticks from the down trees, these giant trees, to make stick structures and stuff.
Right.
That's funny. Okay. Well, that is all of that target there. Now, I do believe from going over that data, I think there's a good chance that could be an axe. Okay.
I think so.
I do. From just solely from the data. Solely from the data, I'm going to say that I think, and I know, listen, when we do remote viewing, it's not always like 100% like on target, but it's giving you clues and stuff. These are blind targets, so I don't know what I'm looking at, but I'm coming up with like weapons and things like that. I think that this could be an actual axe. I do. I don't buy the narrative that we've been told by experts.
They have found other giant artifacts that they can't explain.
Yes, like giant swords, and things like that too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Man, and we do kind of lump all that together with maybe the Tartarians, but this is bigger than Tartarians. What do y'all think about that? Would this be bigger than a Tartarian giant that would have wielded this axe?
Yes, I would. Well, you said it's not as big as what the picture's deceiving.
Right.
It is deceiving.
Not as big as that, so maybe a tall Tartarian possibly could have wielded it, but I would say more of a giant.
Yeah, like maybe a Titan or something.
Yeah, like the 20 to 30 feet tall.
Okay.
I don't know, or somewhere bigger than what we know of the human race.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, yeah, for sure. I probably need to pull up a picture of that guy squatting next to it now, because I feel like we need to show the size difference.
Yeah,
I'm sure everybody will be Googling it and seeing all the pictures.
Yeah, y'all Google it, please. And they say that axe handle, if you want to call it an axe, what looks like an axe is the size of a van. Okay, like a kidnapper van. I'm just kidding. Just any kind of van.
So that's big. I mean, that's big.
Still big. Yeah, if you look at an axe that you would pick up yourself.
I mean, try wrap your hand around a van.
Right.
Oh my gosh, can't do it unless you're a giant, for sure. But MPW 333, thank you so much. Thank you so very much, all three of you. I appreciate that so much.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Yeah. And we still have one more target to do. Okay. And the other one is pretty quick, I think. I don't know, the data, we got a good bit of data, but I don't have a lot of information on this. Okay. So let's get into the last target of the night.
Okay.
All right.
And this is, let me check all the comments real quick. Okay. Yeah, we're good to go. All right. Let me pull this picture up. This is the last target. And this is a picture that actually includes a chart on the bottom. Now, this is very suggestive, if y'all know what I mean. Like, sometimes people will, like, it's just like when people draw a red circle around a picture.
Right.
You're just like, you don't know
it's already leading somebody in a direction.
It's called leading. That's right, Gerald. That's amazing. Yes. It's like, this is kind of leading you, but I think that we would have all seen that to begin with. Okay. Like, we would have seen a person laying there with their arm out, kind of pointed out, and their knees up.
Right.
but someone added this to it, and I didn't have time to find another picture before the show. I was in a hurry, y'all, to put another picture up. But this is kind of leading. It's suggestive to show like how the person, if this is a human, how they're laying. It could also be what we call pareidolia as well. Okay, and
Pretty darn good pareidolia.
it is. Now I do believe this is from the Santa Ana de Tusi. I have a lot of fun, y'all. I don't know.
Can you say that again?
Tusi.
I'm not sure I heard what you said.
Oh my God.
I'm crying so much in this show.
It's in Pasco, Peru. That's all you need to know.
Okay. All right.
And
Watch the
it's,
replay if you want to hear it again.
okay, and I believe the name of this mountain. See, because the prompt for me was just a picture. Okay, like when it was the task was like when it was revealed to me, it was just a picture. Okay, so it was of that mountain or whatever. But I think they call it the El Sansón Dormindo or something like that. Okay, but anyways, this is. Oh, there's some other stuff I want to talk about too after this. Okay, but this is what the target was. This, and some people claim that this is a giant titan. Okay, a sleeping titan, a petrified giant. Okay, and so let's get this data. Okay, so for this target, man, this is a lot of targets go over tonight. For this target, some of my sensory data for this sleeping giant, alleged sleeping giant, is grounded, solid, seismic, large, long, lasting, force, and hit.
Oh.
Okay. And so some of my analytic overlay for this is ground, solid ground, earthquake, grand scale, upside down, Everest.
Upside down.
Everest. Yeah, Everest, like I guess like Mount Everest. But I wrote Everest, test of time, force field, magic, energetics, frequency, sound weapon, sonar, radar, EMF, tide, waves, and total. Okay.
Wow.
So, and this is for this mountain. So this is supposed to be just a mountain.
Is that how they attacked them? Is by sonic wave?
If that is a person or a giant human, maybe so. I don't know.
There's two things that came to my mind. Is one, if we did have a major flood like Noah's flood to kill the giants, to kill the wicked people, was this what happened to him? He drowned, and that's how he laid there when the floods went away.
Yes.
Or like when we talk about the pillar of salt, when who's
Ruth.
No, not Ruth. Cain's wife. Whose wife? Anyway, in the biblical times, it was turned to a pillar of salt by the heat or extreme heat. What if the giants? Lot's wife.
Yeah.
What if there was a heat wave or a nuclear blast that killed giants and left them there like petrified?
Yes.
It's almost like Mount Vesuvius in Peru.
Yeah.
Pompeii.
Yeah, you kept saying like,
you see all those people,
waves
some of them are in fetal positions or doing
Yeah.
whatever they were doing, and they were laying there and they're all turned to stone or petrified.
something happened fast.
It did. It was instant.
Yeah.
Instant. And that's like how we were discussing at the beginning of the show tonight about how a lot of the faces and the stones that you'll see, like the rock faces on the cliffs and things, and they look like human faces. They're just giant. And
right.
And a lot of them are looking in the exact same direction. Almost like something came down from the sky and they were all looking in this one direction.
Wow.
Okay. So it's just it's a thought. Yeah.
Wow.
And taking that combined, and I've got more data, of course, but combining that with the alien technology that we know of that was in that KGB document about the 23 Russian soldiers that got turned to limestone.
Right.
Through extraterrestrial technology, whenever the ETs formed into an orb and it put out an energy blast, they turned them all to stone like Medusa or something. And so, I mean, maybe that's just some kind of technology that's extraterrestrial, and it came down and they turned all the giants to stone like the ETs did.
I mean, like we said earlier, it could be from the Atlanteans and Lemora War or the nuclear war or something that generated a bunch of heat right away and it killed the giants.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. It could have been. Okay. And so if whatever this, I'm picking up on a lot of sound weapons. I literally wrote down sound weapon and energy and frequency and sound weaponry.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And that is for this, which is supposed to just be a mountain. Okay. And I've got this just supposed to be a mountain. I don't know what this target is. It's a blind target. And I'm getting all this sound frequency stuff. And then I go to stage 4 on my second page here. And the first thing I wrote down was sound frequency again. So, and then under that, I wrote my sensory data was burst or busted. Burst is what I wrote down. And then I wrote down sound burst. And this is one of the pictures I drew. And it's like it felt like waves of stuff, like going like a bomb had gone off. Okay.
Wow.
And so it was some kind of
like a solar flare, but sonic, like a sonic flare.
Yes. It was something that was like going out, like a bomb had gone off, and there was like those waves going out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah,
of like,
it's been an energy weapon.
Yeah. And then so I wrote sound burst, sound frequencies, and then I was picking up on something that was very dense. Like I actually drew like a cube. And I wrote dense, and I wrote cubed, cubic, and a solid mass. But of course, the solid mass could just be like that mountain, the rock, or whatever. And then I wrote down, and I was picking up on like a lot of male data. So I wrote down fathers, man, and males. And that was it. Yeah. So that's weird though, that I wrote that at the very end about like a men, like men, fathers, man, and males is what I wrote down. And that was the end of the date. That was the end of this target, because this was just another practice target that I've been given. But I find that very interesting.
Yeah.
Okay? For a lot of reasons. Something that was solid ground, solid, dense. Earthquake was in my data as well. Something in grand scale. I wrote down Everest, which is like a mountain. Okay. So it could be connected to it being a mountain. Okay.
Right.
But then we're getting all this energy frequency weaponry and stuff. And
Everest can mean top, peak, and grand also.
Nice. Well, heck yeah. Well,
wow.
I don't know. What do y'all think? Do y'all think that this is probably just a mountain and it's just pareidolia, or you think maybe, just maybe, it could be a person turned to stone?
I don't think it's pareidolia. There's too many of them around the world that just look legit. It can't just be like, oh, coincidence, accident. No, even when you're looking at clouds, if you say, oh, I see a chicken in the sky. Well, you're actually seeing a chicken in the sky. It's not pareidolia. So,
yes. Oh, man. Well,
this is legit that we can't explain.
I think so, too. I'd mentioned my good friend, Jock Doubleday, earlier. And shout out to Jock. I don't know if he's going to watch this or not, but he's so funny. He I don't know. We got on the subject one day of the petrified giants, and he was like, well, you can see like private parts. Yeah. Some of the caves are not just caves, y'all. Be observant of where you're walking in, because it just might be the lady parts of a giant. Okay?
Oh my!
That's all. I'm gonna leave it there. Okay, I'm gonna leave it there. Y'all can look it up.
That might be a rabbit hole you might not want to have the kids around while you're looking it up.
Definitely a hole of some sort there. Yes, it is. There's both male parts and female parts of these giants out there, and it is really hard to argue that that's not lady parts. It really is. It's like,
wow.
Yeah.
Well, we don't know. We don't know if this sleeping giant and the sleeping lady in Alaska were together and they got a divorce, or one moved out and
sleeping on the floor outside. Yeah. It's just wild. I mean, this world is wild, and it's just a matter of opening your eyes to it, questioning the official narratives of everything, and just having an open mind and looking at things from a different perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And I'm not saying that we're right about all this tonight, or and I'm not even saying one way or another that any of this is one way or another. It's just this is what the data says, and then this is how I see things, and this is how y'all see things.
That's how you interpret it.
Yes.
We've been expressing this in our show too, that if the earth is flat or round or egg-shaped or round, does it really matter? We are someplace together.
We're here.
We're here. Life is like a buffet line. Eat off your own plate. Everyone has their own opinions. No one's right. No one's wrong. We all have the right to have our own opinions, our own research. But what is wrong is to go up to somebody and say, you believe differently than me. You're wrong. That's where it gets wrong. But we all should have our own opinions and an open mind and think what you want. Have fun going down these rabbit holes.
You guys will never look at caving the same ever again.
Yeah.
That's right.
My.
Look at Paramore. That's a good question. I don't know. Is it cheating? I don't know. I don't think so.
And why is going into caves underwater called splunking?
Came from somewhere. I
don't know.
You know, if we have to bring some humor into this, y'all, because it's just a lot. Okay, it's a lot to wrap your head around, and it's really funny too. I love doing this. If we don't do it, somebody else is going to have to do it. So we might as well just put it out there. Just put it out there, and yes, just it's wild. It's like you put on those glasses from They Live, and you see the world very differently.
That is true. Once you open your eyes, once you have an open mind enough, where even in the paranormal field, the UFO field, cryptid field, it don't matter which one. Once you open that door, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, they do exist. I mean, you can't unsee it. There's no going back once you step through that door.
Yes, that's right. That's right. There's no going back. You can't take the glasses off once you get them on.
No.
At all. And Moondog, this is interesting. Thank you for reminding me, actually, because I was going to bring something like this up. I'm not sure if this is the same thing. It probably is. He said India has had massive war using the Brahmastra. Okay, Brahma. I can't talk tonight. I can't pronounce anything anyways. Okay. But this is, okay, so I was actually going to bring this up. This is out of India. It's called the I always had to pronounce these words. I don't know how to pronounce them. At Rajasthan, okay, cursed Kiridu temple. The cursed Kiridu, I think is how you pronounce it. The temple located in India is rumored to have turned humans into stones. Okay, it's an actual temple. Now, I had all these pictures and I forgot to pull them up. Once again, I was actually going to pull them up on the computer and I forgot to pull up my website. But y'all go look that up. Okay, the cursed temple. It's the Kiradu, Karadu. Okay, got to put the right accent on the right syllable. Okay, and I don't know how to do that. So, but they have it's one of those stone temples. And, you know, that's a cool rabbit hole to go down too, is like all the temples could be like battery generators and stuff. I mean, the way that they're some kind of power generating source there. They look like pyramids kind of, but also like a power generator, like something you see like on a power pole, you know, today outside on the street, outside your house. It's just interesting. Okay. But they say that at that temple, this temple had the power to turn people into stone.
Wow.
And
well, a lot of these temples, and we talk about it all the time about cathedrals, about being so designed for frequencies and for the pipe organs and the bells ringing and the stained glass frequencies of the colors coming through to people. Well, the same occurs in these temples. I saw where they can ring a tuning fork or put a frequency in there. It's just perfect harmonics. Well, what if that was focused like a microwave oven? That would cook you from the inside out and would turn you into a pillar of salt. Because we have salt, we have water, we have minerals in our body. So if that was energy focused,
wrong frequency.
If it was focused on an individual or almost like a magnifying glass and with the sun coming through it to a pinpoint, do that with frequency and sound.
Okay, so that could be what happened to Lot. Was it Lot's wife, right?
Right, absolutely.
They were told to run from. It was like Sodom and Gomorrah or something, right?
Right. And don't look back.
Do not look back. And maybe it's because it was being blown up by some kind of energy weapon or something. And that's why she turned to salt. A pillar
Absolutely.
of salt.
It's almost
Oh,
like
man.
dehydrating somebody.
Wow.
Ooh, like radiation too, maybe.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, could be radiation. Man, these are not just cautionary tales in the Bible, y'all. This is, it's just letting us know maybe what happened. These are we've been given all the breadcrumbs. Okay, we just have to put it all into our everyday lives, like how we can, how this could be real, the future, the past, in the I don't know, what does that say, the future proves past and stuff, like I don't know.
History repeats itself.
History definitely repeats itself.
Mm-hmm.
For sure, but we've been given the breadcrumbs throughout the centuries.
That's right.
And I guess every time people start figuring out all the breadcrumbs and putting them together, that's when we have another reset. So maybe we shouldn't talk about this too much tonight. Maybe we should call the night here pretty
do
soon.
not collect $200.
Yeah.
Go straight to jail.
Yes. Let's see what Sovereign says. Okay, so he's talking about the alleged energy weapons stuff.
Right.
He said that there is dangerous lingering radiation there, is what he said.
Wow.
That's where places that have been affected by wildfires, let's just say, right? That there could be lingering dangerous radiation. Yeah, we have to be careful about that radiation for sure.
Absolutely.
Yes.
I mean, we know for the Gulf storm, the wars, that they have microwave or frequency technology, and they've used it where you start heating up from the inside. And they said anybody that was hit with that, they started stripping their clothes off because they were so hot. They were trying to cool down any way they could.
Yeah. It makes you think, about the people who kind of lose their minds. They always want to get naked, right? A lot of people, they want to go street through town. Maybe it's not them. Maybe they are being hit with some kind of directed energy weapon.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because we know that there are people that have access to those that will.
Yeah. Like I said, microwave. Like a microwave. It heats things from the inside out.
Gosh. Yeah. I don't know. We got rid of our microwave. We don't have one in the house to heat up the food and stuff. I know for some people, you gotta. It's just a convenience, right? Having a microwave oven and stuff in your house, and it's not good for our food and not good for our body. So we actually got rid of ours. It is in the garage, not plugged in anymore. But yeah, I don't know. There's so much working against us these days.
So have Ben get a hold of me, because I can tell him what he can do with some of the internal parts of a microwave.
Oh, really? Oh gosh.
We can do a science experiment.
Get MacGyver.
Ben's up in the garage tearing apart your microwave.
Yeah, you'll be down there putting forks and knives in it and stuff, and lighting on fire.
And you're going to be out to go.
No thanks,
Carol. Why'd you say that?
Yeah,
Carol's
my
fault.
gosh. That is too funny. Yes. Yes. No. Well, I don't know if air fryers are any better. I do have an air fryer though.
Yeah, I use my air fryer a lot. Yeah.
That's all we ever use. So hopefully it's not as bad. One day we'll find out the air fryers are worse than microwaves. Probably. Who knows?
Probably.
I mean, it's a matter of time.
Yeah.
What is that saying that I always like to say? We're all gonna die anyways. You know what I mean?
Right.
But
enjoy your life.
We're just having fun. Eat your air fryer. I mean, not eat your air fryer. Use your air fryer. Use your microwave. Who cares? Yeah. But
well, do you realize there's stuff in the air, stuff in the food, stuff in the water, and we know they're doing it. But what is the one thing that has a warning all over it telling us it's dangerous, it causes cancer? Don't do it.
Yeah.
You know what it is? Tobacco.
Oh, yeah.
Why do they say that that's dangerous, harmful, it causes cancer, but they're killing us all these other different directions? So there's got to be something good about the tobacco. I've heard a lot of good things about tobacco, but that's the one they're saying, oh, that's dangerous to your health. Don't do it.
It's the nicotine.
Yes, the nicotine. It's good for you.
Well, it's actually good. I know. So this is for entertainment purposes only. We are not doctors.
We're not doctors.
Okay. I have a good friend of mine who's been in the chat tonight who has sent me some things. He was on a kick for a minute, sending me some stuff about nicotine and how it's actually in small doses. It's very good for you. It keeps you healthy and stuff. Yes. I'm not saying to go out and smoke, y'all. I don't smoke, okay, at all. But you know, it's not. it's not bad for you. Okay.
So
Right.
what's
There's-
bad
That's
is
what I heard.
actually
I don't
good
know.
for you, and
I
what's
don't
good
know.
for you is bad for you. So you just got to look at the opposite.
If you look it
Yeah.
up, there's actually fruits and stuff you grow in your garden that has more nicotine in it than cigarettes.
Yeah, some people are doing nicotine pills because the
Oh,
nicotine
man.
back in 2020, some did not get that thing, or that they did, it was very mild, and they were the smokers.
Oh yeah.
Kind of funny that the government says, don't smoke. It's dangerous. Oh, okay.
I mean, there's a reason why the Native Americans in early
Mhm.
civilizations grew tobacco and used it as medicinal purposes.
And what is Sasquatch like? They like tobacco also.
Yes.
So there's got to be a lot of good benefits in it.
Anyway,
Yeah, anyway.
Oh my gosh. I know. I just saw Hillbilly Herb's comment and I was thinking about Will Ferrell's voice. I don't know if that's the same movie. This is from a movie. It's like Step Brothers or something. I don't even know what movie it was. I can't remember. But yeah, he goes running. He goes streaking and stuff. I don't think it's Step Brothers, but I don't remember.
I think it's news anchor or something.
Maybe it was News Anchor. It was one of those funny movies. He's in a lot of funny movies, actually. So don't get me started on Talladega Nights. Okay.
Yeah, baby Jesus.
Yes. Yes. I don't want to have to come after anyone like a spider monkey tonight. Okay. Yes, we're all hopped up on Mountain Dew.
That's
Okay.
right. You must-
but,
And tobacco.
You must be a southern elf.
I am for sure. If you ain't first, you're last, y'all. Words to live by. If you ain't first, you're last. And we are going to be first in cracking the code here. Maybe I don't know. I don't know. I'm not saying 100% that the Devil's Tower is a tree stump, but I think it's pretty close to being. I'm gonna say like 90-something%. It's probably a tree.
Let's just say we're leaning towards that.
I'm leaning towards that being a tree stump.
Mhm.
So
That's right.
Team Stump all the way. And the data backs it up, y'all. I think it could be a stump, and I think that could be another stump with an axe on it as well over at the King of Wings, which is the weirdest name ever. But King of Wings, and then Peru'S sleeping giant may or may not be a giant human. I don't know. That could go either way. So,
Right.
Yeah. I don't know. This has been a fantastic show, y'all. Thank you so much for being here, and for being my co-host tonight. And this was way deeper than I ever in a million years expected.
That's a lot of fun. We love doing this.
Oh, you mean you're going to ask us again? We didn't blow the whole show.
Oh my gosh, this is too fun. No, we always have a good time every time you guys come on, and we really do. And we do have, this is just the best chat, man. We really have wonderful people in here, and I'm super blessed to have such a great audience tonight and every night. So yeah. What do you guys have going on? I know we're kind of winding down, and you guys have a wonderful YouTube channel, Midwest Night Watchers. And if y'all want to tell the audience about your channel and your promotions of anything y'all want to promote tonight.
Okay. Well, we have movie nights on Friday and Saturdays on our Rumble channel only. So we show old monster movies, could be psychedelic thrillers, whatever. Just old 50s, 60s, sometimes 70s movies. And there's a lot of hidden stuff in there. We just played, you mentioned it, They Live. We just played that a week or so ago. And Sunday we have Jim Goodall on, and we're going to be touch on his relationship and friendship for all these years with Bob Lazar and John Lear.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to touch on that and UFOs. So Jim's coming on to hang out with us, and
wow.
You talk about your channel.
We do have a 24/7 channel. It's on Midwest Night Watchers, and it's 24/7. We've got 8 cameras that I go different cameras. Sometimes I got 3 of them going at the same time. Got little boxes, so you can check out. Sky Watch at night. We got strange things that keep appearing almost every single night in the northern sky. I don't know what they are. I think they're orbs, plasmoids, something that appears and disappears. And there's skunks, possums, all kinds of little critters. During the day, you can see the goats and chickens and a lot of birds. So we do have a 24/7. And yes, I do have a Chiro Sounds channel that has all kinds of different instruments. I'm just a crazy old lady that just loves all different kinds of instruments. And I do have a brand new handpan video that I just put up last week. So
I saw that. I saw that. I love it. I love it. Your,
Thank
your
you,
music is
Carol.
amazing. It is. My mother loves it too, by the way.
Awesome.
And
we all love it.
tonight, our mutual good friend Dennis Carroll is going to be on SOR. So check
yes.
that out after this show.
Yeah, Dennis is going to be on with Dave Scott. Yeah.
Oh, sweet.
So that's
Awesome.
tonight.
Oh, good. Well, I will definitely try to stay up and tune into that. It's only in like an hour and 45 minutes. So I'll try to be there for that, especially Dave and Dennis, two of my favorite people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Well,
Well,
we're
yeah.
going to go and blow up the chat.
Heck yeah. That's what we do best.
Yeah,
That's right.
it's like we did when you were on there. Yeah, we went over and rated the chat.
Yeah, you did. It was awesome. It was so awesome. Thank y'all so much for that. It's always wonderful having you guys in the chats and stuff. And thank you so much for helping me with my chats as well over here on the channel.
No problem.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Y'all are awesome. I really do appreciate it. So yeah, y'all, please go subscribe to Chiro Sounds on YouTube, everybody, and go over to Midwest Night Watchers on YouTube and Rumble. And man, I need to start doing my shows. Y'all do go live on Rumble as well? Okay,
Yep.
I need to figure out how to do
live
it.
on Rumble, and that way we don't have to upload it later or try to back it up on another channel. It's just already there.
Amazing. Well, I may need to get in touch with y'all for some pointers to figure out how to go live over there too.
Absolutely.
Because I have a channel, but I'm way behind on uploading my videos over there. So
And we do have a Facebook group, Midwest Night Watchers, so you can go over there and hang out. And I post a lot of stuff in there and other people's and advertisement. Actually, I did it for the show tonight.
awesome. Very cool. Awesome, y'all. Well, thank you so much for being here tonight. And I can't wait to have y'all back on the show very soon. And
Thanks for asking us.
gosh, we have a lot to think about tonight. I'm sorry. I'm probably going to be up all night just pondering everything we talked about. So I will be up probably to be able to say hey to Dennis and Dave tonight, because I'm not going to be able to sleep after this show. For real. Probably not. But yeah, this was amazing. Thanks to everybody in the chat tonight for being here. You guys are the best. And my goodness.
You guys rock.
Y'all are the best. And and Kristen's here too. Kristen, you better stay dry out there. Okay. I don't know if you're in the woods today or not, but thank you, Kristen, for being here and for all your support. Kristen is one of my teammates, y'all. And so thank you for being here. So thank you, Kristen. And thank you to MPW 333 and Tiger Eye and Skip and Elise and Jojo and Io Bage. Y'all know I can't pronounce anything these days, but thank you for that. And thank you to Kent too, for all the super stickers tonight. Y'all are very sweet and very kind. And thank you to all my channel members and my Patreon members. All this data, all the raw data and everything that I talked about and all the pictures, everything is on my Patreon tonight as well. If you guys want to become a member of that. And so you guys come back and see me on Saturday night. I will be here Saturday night, 10 p.m. Eastern, as we go on the hunt live. Okay. So until then, you guys please stay safe out there. Always look at things from all the different perspectives. Okay. And keep an open mind about life. And like I said, when you put the glasses on, be prepared, because you can never really take them off. Okay.
Yeah.
And so y'all don't live in fear, live in awareness, keep your head on a swivel. And I'm sending all my love and light out to every one of y'all. And thanks again, Gerald and Jane. And we will see y'all on Saturday. All right. Bye, y'all.